Welcome back to the channel. This is Freddy Storm and you are watching third part of What If Naruto Awakens Celestial Chakra. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
In front of him stood the Yondaime Hokage, his childhood hero turned source of all the agony and suffering he had ever known. The Jinchuriki had often imagined this happening, but they never once thought it would. Ultimately, the deceased man was purportedly imprisoned within the Shinigami's abdomen. However, he was now in front of him. The only thing that came to Naruto's mind at that precise moment was, don't hit him, don't hit him, don't hit. Hello, Naruto. Kun. Screw it. Whack. God, demon, or spirit alike flinched as Naruto's leg struck its target with lightning speed and uncanny precision. The Yondaime clutched his family jewels as he fell face down onto the ground, wondering how there could possibly be so much pain. His eyes went cross. For crying out loud, he had been involved in a freaking war. The intense pain engulfing him at the moment was nothing like anything he had experienced before. It was simply incorrect. He let out a painful gurgle and wheezed, "Why? Why would you do that to me? That was for sealing the Kyuubi in me. But I didn't have a choice. I'm your father." Naruto's gaze expanded. "Why? You're my dad?" "Yes." Whack. "Oh Kami, help. It's bent." With its head cocked to the side, as if it could hear something far away, the Shinigami croaked, "Kami. Dono isn't here and to be honest, I'm not sure she could fix that anyways. Just so you know, Namikaze, every one of your ancestors felt that. They're all crying for their mommies right now." The legendary shinobi just kept crying and whining. With a growl, Naruto said, "And that's for being my dad and making the only choice you could in that situation," before bending down. He extended both arms almost nervously, as if fearing that the man, his father, would vanish, but then he threw himself forward and gave his father his first hug. And he started crying right then. He cried because of all the anguish and suffering he had experienced. For all the time he had wondered who his parents were, he had wept. And he shed tears for the Yondaime's sacrifice, which he now realized had been made. With tears streaming down his cheeks, the Yondaime did all he could to give the boy a strong embrace in return. "I'm sorry, Naruto. Kun. I'm so sorry." "Shut up." Holding the boy closer to his heart, Minato laughed. If only his spouse could also be present, he would treasure this for all of eternity. Then, if only briefly, they could be a family at last. "Please include me in this," a stifled yet recognizable voice blubbered to his right. Looking up, the two manly shinobi saw a familiar redhead sniffing and crying just as much as they were, tears streaming down their cheeks and snot hanging from their noses. "Kushina, San? My stupid boys." And with that, a family that had not been together for 13 years came together. "Blah, Kami. Sama, did you really have to bring her with you? This whole mushy love stuff is so sickening," Kukio growled, raising an eyebrow at the goddess who had materialized out of nowhere. "I think I might just puke." "Gah. Damn it, what was that for, Rei? Chan?" The Holy Spirit roared, slamming her fist into his head once more. "You're ruining a wonderful moment. This is the first time they've all been together since the day Naruto Kun was born. Show some compassion, Teme." The Void Spirit rubbed the big bump on his head and merely groaned. Unfortunately, the Shinigami interrupted. "We will have to break this reunion up. As divine beings, we cannot remain in the mortal realm for very long, even within the mindscape of one of our champions, and there are things Kami, Dono and I need to tell Naruto." With regret in her melodic voice, Kami remarked, "Shinigami. Dono is right, Naruto. Kun, Minato. Kun, Kushina. Chan. As much as it pains me to say this reunion will have to wait until it is Naruto's time." The family reluctantly parted ways. Everyone could see how painful it was for them to part ways, but they were shinobi. They realized that, despite their deepest desires to the contrary, families and other important things occasionally had to take a backseat. Now that all eyes were on them, the two gods spoke with one voice. "Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze, today, you have passed the test of the Shinigami and gained the right to wield Mugetsu, the Sword of the Void. With this, you have proven yourself to be a champion of the gods, ready and willing to fight for the innocent. However, you alone will not be enough to battle what is to come. Darkness and destruction is coming, and should they succeed in their mission in the coming years, it will mean the end of everything as we know it. Naruto's gaze expanded. W. What am I to do then? How am I supposed to beat this darkness? Just as your teacher has taught you, true teamwork can overcome any challenge. Your friends and allies will prove to be invaluable in the coming war, but they will need your help and support. This war will not be easy or a short one. It will be difficult, and the coming battles will test you in every conceivable way, but, should you and your friends succeed, true peace and prosperity will spread across the realms for a millennia. Both divine beings stepped forward and gazed into the wide eyes of their chosen hero. Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze, due to the enormity of the tasks ahead, we offer you this one chance to back out. Will you be our champion against the oncoming storm? Option. Someone was giving him an option. Naruto already knew the answer. Either stand up and fight for existence itself, or hide and watch from the sidelines, knowing that he could have made a difference. Saying otherwise would go against not only his nature but also the oath he had taken many years prior, that he would never turn away when there was a chance to improve the life of someone in need. That he would be the person he had always hoped would come to his aid when he was a child. To put it succinctly, there had never been any doubt about his intentions. Naruto turned to the two divine beings and spoke, altering the path of history itself with a look of steely determination in his eyes. If you would have me, I will be your champion, Kami. Sama, Shinigami. Sama. Then by our divine power, we task you, Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze, to fight and defeat the servants of the Dark God wherever they may appear. Whenever war, strife, famine, or undue death and destruction occur, you are to step in, fight, and heal what you can. As you will, Kami. Sama, Shinigami. Sama. I will do my best. We know you will, Naruto Uzumaki. Namikaze. Stay true to who you are, for the fate of existence itself rests in your hands. The two gods then left the mortal world, having served their purpose. Unsurprised but nonetheless devastated, Naruto turned to face his parents and saw Kushina and Minato starting to deteriorate. 2. San. San. Cramping the Jinchuriki in an embrace, the redhead choked back a sob, obviously distraught about having to part from her baby boy yet again. Naruto. Kun, no matter what happens, always remember that Minato and I are proud of you. And we will always love you. I know, San. I know. Minato paused, then a smile appeared on his face. Naruto. Kun. Go kick the Dark God's ass. With a quick salute to his father, the Yondaime Hokage, Naruto laughed. Asu. Grinning, the two legends turned to face the Demon Lord and the two spirits that were standing next to her. Even though they remained silent, their request was clearly understood. You can rely on it, we'll assist him in every manner possible, Meigetsu pledged. The two angelic beings gave a nod. They mumbled, thank you, thank you, thank you. Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki then disappeared once more into the afterlife. It was getting late and dinner was being served when Naruto arrived back at Tazuna's house. Thanks to the game and herbs the team had foraged during the day, Tsunami had prepared an unexpectedly substantial feast. Ah! Naruto. There you are, Kakashi exclaimed as soon as he saw the youthful shinobi come inside. I was just about to go looking for you. Sorry for taking so long, Kakashi. Sensei. Did something happen? The older man asked, perceiving that his young charge had undergone a significant event that, whatever it was, appeared to have relieved the blonde of a great deal of weight. The boy seemed to have gained confidence, though Kakashi was unsure of the source of it. Naruto patted the new blade strapped to his hip and remarked, a couple things. It took longer than I expected to get this sword. Upon hearing Tazuna choke unexpectedly, he abruptly stopped serving himself food and collapsed at the table. That sword. Where did you get it? When Naruto turned to face his team, they gave him confused looks in return, as the old man's voice was obviously filled with fear. From a cave a few miles from here. Why? Tazuna instantly turned pale, and Tsunami, as well as her young son Inari, were now staring at the sword in fright. That sword is dangerous, Naruto. Many warriors have entered that cave trying to claim that blade and only a handful have ever returned. And the ones that did return never stayed alive for much longer. Kokyo, is that true? What? Did you think you were the only person to try and claim me? Dozens of warriors took the test, most of them a lot prettier than you. Naruto grimaced. You know that's not what I'm asking for. The spirit of void exhaled. Yes, it's true. Understand that accepting a divine test to wield a blade capable of harnessing celestial chakra is a serious deal. If a challenger don't already have celestial chakra, they essentially wager their life force in the test, and when they fail, well, you know what happens when a person runs out of chakra. Naruto was at a loss for words when he heard something like that. He was unaware that he had such a strong defensive mechanism in his celestial chakra. Apparently, the test is deadly who doesn't have celestial chakra, so since I'm one of the few people who does, I'm safe. So, no need to worry, old man, he said, turning to face the other tables. Though Tazuna didn't appear to be persuaded, he ultimately dismissed it as more shinobi madness. Nay, Naruto? What's up, Sakura? You've mentioned celestial chakra before. What is it? I've never heard of it before in any of our school books. Oh my. Naruto blinked. Is it okay to inform people about true divinity? His resident demon lord spoke up, saying, Kami, Chan and Shinigami. Dono said you would need allies. And who better than your own team? They'll need to understand what's going on if they want to help, and for that, you'll need to go over the basics with them. What say you, Rei? Chan? Kokyo? I agree with Meigetsu. San. Your teammates have potential to truly aid you in the fight against the Dark One. I think so too, though, why couldn't you have a hotter teammate? I mean, do you see how flat-chested she is? Might as well be a... Ow. What was that for? For being a pervert. What's wrong with being a pervert? It's just appreciation for the female figure. No, it's not. And you wonder why I prefer Jisei over you. Jisei? You just had to bring him up, didn't you? Why couldn't you be more like him? Because I don't want to be anything like that arrogant bastard. Arrogant? Oh, that's rich coming from you. What? He is. I swear. That's a lie and you know it. He's been nothing but a perfect gentleman while you act like an immature pervert with a huge inferiority complex. Why did Naruto-kun have to find you over him? Oh, now that's low. Well, for your information, Jisei is just as perverted, if not more so, than me. Where do you think I got it from? Really? Trying to pin it on your older brother? Real mature, pervert. Wah. I'm not lying, bitch. Guys? Don't disturb this, Naruto. Kun, Meigetsu muttered while savoring a bag of popcorn. Raisei and Kukio were arguing with each other almost face to face. This is the most fun I've had since I pranked you when we first met. Mei. Chan, you really had to remind me of that. Mei. Chan? Awfully personal of you to call me that. Is there something you're not telling me? The boy turned a bright red as Naruto could almost feel the mischievous smile on the teasing demoness's face. What? Not at all. Meigetsu chuckled. I'm just teasing, Naruto. Kun. And you can call me Mei. Chan if you want. Yes. Huh. Right, he thought to himself, still feeling ashamed. So, could you please tell me who Jisei is? Jisei is the spirit that dwells in Shiki, death penalty, the Shinigami's divine weapon. You'll definitely meet him eventually. He's a nice guy. In any case, you should start interacting with your team. They must be wondering why you're so groggy at the moment. Oh, right. I completely forgot about that, Naruto said, sheepishly rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment as he snapped back to reality and noticed the numerous worried glances being directed at him from around the table. Sakura's delicate pink eyebrow shot upward. Talking? To your blades? Yes, I am aware of that. Very difficult to believe. Later, I'll explain. Anyway, Sakura, I believe you asked me a question regarding the celestial chakra. Yeah. Well, it's difficult to explain, but in general, there are various kinds of chakra. Not our elemental affinities, either. There is the chakra of natural energy that permeates the very fabric of the world. Yoki, the demon's chakra, is one of them. Additionally, some bloodlines have completely distinct chakras. What is a celestial chakra, then? From the corner of his eye, Naruto saw that Sasuke and Kakashi were both listening intently to Sakura's question. You're going to find this hard to believe, but celestial chakra is basically heavily diluted, divine energy. Sakura gave a blink. Sasuke also did so. Kakashi just closed his smut book and turned the page. Did you just say divine energy, I wonder? Yeah. Divine. Uh-huh. Like, the strength of Kami? It's kind of cool, huh? You are not fabricating this, are you? Because if you are, please assist me. Sakura, I'm not kidding at all. Raising his hand, Naruto exclaimed, here, feel it out for yourself. As the Jinchuriki channeled his holy celestial chakra, a warm, golden light enveloped his hand. Sakura and Sasuke could feel something different in the chakra at that moment. It felt greater, purer, simply beyond their very comprehension. And in that moment, the two teens accepted that the energy their teammate wielded was, in fact, of a divine nature. The Uzumaki are one of the few out there who are naturally born with the ability to use celestial chakra. It's among the causes of my clan's enduringly high reserves. Sakura exhaled, wow. So what can it do? It's still a kind of chakra, though. Equal, more compact, and heavenly. To everyone's surprise, Naruto revealed, that's why, even though under normal circumstances, I wouldn't stand a chance, my Saidoryu, Tenjiri, Holy Sword Style, Celestial Slash, could match Zabuza's Benakiri. Ryu, Kai no Tasuki, Crimson Mist Style, Blood Moon. It's also more effective against devils and other supernatural enemies than regular chakra. Apart from that, my techniques can only be replicated by an individual possessing a holy affinity and the ability to utilize celestial chakra. Why? Celestial chakra is unique in that it can only be utilized in accordance with the user's affinity. In the case of my clan, we share a sacred bond. This new sword has made me a little different, he patted Mugetsu. I can use void affinity with it, but not as well. If you are not born with the celestial chakra, is it still possible to use it? It was evident to all of Team 7 what the Uchiha were hoping for, and it was for this reason that Naruto was hesitant to respond when Sasuke demanded it. To be honest, Sasuke, I have no idea. Well, it could work if you manage to get your hands on one of my divine weapons, my swords, that is, but I'm not sure where the others are. When he saw the Avenger open his mouth, he interrupted, and I'm not giving you my swords. One was acquired recently, and the other is a family heirloom. After you just received them, would you want me to take your belongings? Sasuke grimaced, but he didn't fight back. He understood Naruto's point, and even if he succeeded in his goals, he wouldn't go so far as to steal his own teammates' stuff. Instead, he would gain the ability to kill Itachi, not take it. Otherwise, obtaining his retribution would be less meaningful. Naruto chose a compromise, despite the slim chance of success, after observing the Uchiha's expression. Tell ya what, Sasuke. I'll give you first shot at the next divine weapon we unearth. Sounds good? Sasuke laughed despite himself, saying, I'll hold you to that, Naruto. Nay, Naruto, you seem to know a lot about chakra, Sakura said, finding Naruto's sudden interest in explaining his sudden interest rather surprising given the smitten idiot she had once sat with in class. This wasn't how you were at the academy. Being aware of chakras and their functions enables me to develop my own methods. Regarding that, he took out a few scrolls and threw them to his teammates, saying, these are yours. As he watched Sasuke and Sakura excitedly open their scrolls, Kakashi's one remaining eye grew larger. Naruto, are those? Yes. Sasuke had one Kaden ninjutsu, while Sakura had one Doden ninjutsu. I sincerely hope you enjoy them. B. However, this morning you discovered their elemental affinities. In just a few hours, how were two new jutsus created? When Naruto finally started eating his dinner, he revealed, actually, I made those a month ago, but given what we're up against, I figured we need all the firepower we can get. Later, I'll make them more customized jutsu. Also yours. That made more sense, oh. So what are their new methods doing then? I'm going to make a series of fire techniques, and Sasuke has the first step of them. It is known as the Dragon's Fang technique, or Kaden. Garyu no Jutsu, fire release. More concussive force is used in this technique, similar to that of the Kaden. Hosenka no Jutsu, fire release, Phoenix Sage Flower technique. It has a piercing quality as well. You have the option to shoot each one individually or up to 12 at once with an additional hand seal. The volley's drawback is that each one contains less chakra than the others, so it won't pack as much of a punch, Naruto said in between mouthfuls. Because of its adaptability, it's an upper C rank technique and should only require about 2/3 the amount of chakra as your Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Release. Great Fireball Technique, Sasuke. The Uchiha was already lost in the scroll and didn't even reply. With a roll of his eyes, Naruto faced Sakura, who had stopped reading the scroll long enough to hear her teammate out. Sakura, the technique I gave you is a defensive earth technique, Naruto said to her. Given that you defended the elderly man during our 2 attacks, I assumed it would be ideal if you possessed a Doden technique for additional defense, Naruto said, and the pinkette nodded, comprehending his reasoning. It's called the Doden, Shoakusei. Tai, Earth Release, Asteroid Belt. You will have multiple large rocks surrounding you with this jutsu, shielding you from projectiles. However, it requires a lot of chakras, so you should definitely strengthen your reserves. How intense is the chakra system? It doesn't sound like it at all, Sakura inquired. Well, if the rocks are just floating up there, what use are they? To address the possibility of any proficient shinobi being able to kill them with a kunai thrown between them, I have additionally established a chakra field linked to the rocks through your sensory abilities. Essentially, the method involves you pulsating your chakra every few seconds to a 15-yard radius. One of the rocks will move to intercept anything it detects right away. It functions similarly to an automatic response alert system. It used to take Naruto a full minute to finish his meal before any of them could gather their composure and speak, and by the time he was done, Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi were all firmly cracking the table. What the heck? How did you do? Naruto, how in Kami's name did you make such a complex jutsu? Kakashi sputtered. It would take years for most people to create something like that. Well, Gigi did assist a little, but other than that, I'm not sure. I've always found this kind of stuff easy, the Jinchuriki shrugged. It's enjoyable too. At this pace, you'll become well known. I'm now eagerly anticipating the method you promised to develop for me. Tonight, I'll work on it. I swear. Is it really that important? The team looked up to see Inari staring at them with a look of pure hatred and misery in his eyes, and then they heard a small voice from one end of the table say, "Pardon me?" questioned Sasuke. "What's the big deal?" I asked. "In any case, you're all going to die." "Brat, what in the name of Kami Sama are you talking about?" It's a kid whose level of emo somehow exceeded Sasuke's at his worst. And that was saying something. Demanded Naruto, who was exhausted from his training and the test, both mentally and physically. Are you really doing this? When you're just going to kill yourselves, what good is training? Nobody can defeat Gato, and certainly not you. With tears in his eyes, Inari let out a cry. Enough already, Indira. Tsunami uttered harsh words. No, Mom, it's not. They're simply going to perish. And assumption will get worse due to them. Listen, brat, Naruto growled. You don't know a thing about us or our abilities, and you're also vastly overestimating Gato. Naruto really hated kids like this. Sure, he knew all about Inari's past, but the boy was taking his depression and anger to the extreme and lashing out at everyone. Even though he was young, Inari really needed to understand how ridiculously selfish he was being in thinking that his life was horrible. There were undoubtedly dozens, if not hundreds of other children who were going through lives that were far, far worse. He's just a fat midget hiding behind his money and mercenaries, from what we've heard. You won't be able to escape Gato's grip if you don't deal with your issues now, because they will only make them worse later on. How would you know? You most likely never had to worry about anything because you lived a comfortable and luxurious life your entire life. You have no idea what pain and suffering are. That completed it. The Uchiha's power was quickly eclipsed by the raw power erupting from his teammate, Naruto. Suddenly, the entire house felt the crushing power of not just Naruto's human chakra, but also his celestial chakra and, known only to the two people in the room, his demonic chakra. It exploded out of him in a visible swirling aura that lit up the room and made his eyes glow a brilliant silvery gold. And in that moment, everyone felt as if they were standing in the presence of some righteous angry god. I have no knowledge of suffering or pain. Although initially calm, his voice suddenly burst into an enraged scream. I know nothing of pain and suffering? Brat, what the fuck do you know? Ever furious about something over which you had totally no power? Or, on the first birthday you can remember, beaten within an inch of your life and hunted down like an animal? Ever starved for days at a time? At the age of 4, were you thrown out of the orphanage and left to fend for yourself? And then aim to take your own life by destroying yourself so that your own villagers can support you? Not at all. You have been residing with your grandfather and mother. They put forth every effort to show you love and care, and all you do is sit there and fucking sulk. You don't realize how bad your pathological life can truly be because you're too busy being angry about it. That someone has always had a worse time than you. Include that in your small skull. Everyone has something worse than you. Remember, kid, no matter what you say or how you whine about it, your father isn't going to come back. Naruto said, turning to face the horrified child, before turning to leave the table and heading toward the front door. And for the poor man or woman who's had it worse than me, I can only pray and hope that they'll find some form of comfort in their cruel life. Please understand that he is with Kami Sama and that he would be extremely disappointed in you if he saw you injuring your grandfather and mother with your pitiful tears. Rather than sitting around moping like a spoiled brat, if you really want the pain to end and your father to look down on you, take action. And with that, he walked out, closing the door behind him. Everyone in the room fell silent as they tried to gather themselves after what they had just gone through. Sakura and Sasuke were both trembling, while Tsunami was sobbing in public. Inari and Tazuna were still in shock, and Kakashi's sad expression said it all, especially when Sakura managed to gather herself enough to ask the question that was on everyone's mind. Would you believe what NN Naruto said, KK Kakashi? Sensei? Fearing the very answer, she stammered. Though obviously unwilling to confirm anything, the elite Jonin winced before nodding, saying, if anything, that was a severely sugar-coated version of it. No. You have to be kidding. Naruto's life has been incredibly challenging from the beginning. Other than an occasional few, he has never had parents, friends, or anyone else who would be willing to assist him. Naruto had to learn how to take care of himself at a young age as a result. Why, in your opinion, did he once crave attention non-stop? He hasn't really had anyone from the beginning. Kakashi raked a hand through his silver hair and remarked, it really is wonder how he turned out the way he is now. Most people who live that kind of life typically end up very cruel and bitter, and yet, Naruto always had a smile on his face and a cheerful personality. He turned to face his two somber students. You both once ridiculed him back in the academy. And he's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. Sakura in particular, you. Although I'm happy that has stopped since the three of you formed a team, I hope that going forward you will treat him with more respect and keep in mind that nothing is ever as it seems. Examine beneath the underneath. You two should do better for Naruto. The two genin nodded, feeling their respect and compassion for their blonde partner soar. Finally, it all made sense now. Sasuke, on the other hand, felt a much deeper sense of sympathy. He, too, had felt completely alone during his suffering. When his treacherous brother had massacred his clan, he had felt empty, as if life had no purpose. However, the village had supported him through it all, he had never had to worry about food or shelter, and he had seen a therapist for the trauma. But Naruto didn't have any of that. He had been alone through his suffering. How? How had he missed it? Sakura, on the other hand, was mentally screaming, what have I done? Sakura knew that she had played a part in Naruto's miserable life, having insulted him, spread rumors about him, and rejected him cruelly only a few months prior. Hearing this and realizing that she had contributed to all of this simply broke Sakura's heart. Even now, in spite of everything Sakura had done, Naruto still went above and beyond to help his team, which included her. Naruto, I sincerely apologize, the two genin thought. A few miles away, Haku, Zabuza's apprentice and the last living Yuki clan member, sensed a massive chakra outburst and stopped in her herb gathering. It felt like power beyond anything she had ever felt, much more than Zabuza's enormous energy reserves. However, there was more to it than that. It had a melancholy, lonely feeling that was strikingly similar to hers. It revived memories the kunoichi had long since tried to push away, memories from those years ago, before her master had discovered her, when her father had attempted to kill her mother as well as herself. Haku felt something, though, as if her chakra was somehow resonating with the energy she was sensing before those terrible memories could overcome her. The chakra that was drawing near her had a subtle undertone of warmth and comfort. As though this person still desired to assist and console those in need in spite of all of its suffering. It made sense to her. Even sang to her. Haku felt a weight that she wasn't even aware was there suddenly lifted off her shoulders. Abruptly, they found themselves facing each other. The two shinobi looked into each other's eyes as Sapphire and Hazel met. Eyes that glowed with feeling. How ought they to proceed? Must they launch an attack? Shall they simply leave? Time passed in seconds. Next, minutes. Subsequently, gradually, arms were raised. Oh, look who's finally awake. What happened? You got your ass kicked. That's what happened. Stuff it, ya bastard. TCH, awake for less than a minute and already you're mouthing off to everyone. I may not be as strong as you, Zabuza, but in your state, killing you wouldn't even take a second. You can try, Ryoshi. It won't get you anywhere. The now. Identified Ryoshi grinned fiercely, his numerous tribal tattoos on his face adding to his intimidating appearance. Let me guess. You have a kunai hidden somewhere under those blankets, ready to stab the first idiot to try and attack you, right? In a rough voice, Zabuza remarked, you were always a sharp one. Good to see my second in command hasn't slacked off while I was away. Anyways, where's Haku? I thought she was the one treating me. She is, the man said, swishing his long, rust-colored hair in a ponytail after he finished. But because you stupidly decided to rant about your eyebrows for 2 hours before getting any treatment, your wounds got worse and we didn't have enough herbs to treat you. She left about 15 minutes ago to get some more. Did anyone go with her? No, but she can take care of herself. You trained her, after all. Despite his reputation and all of his flaws, Zabuza was genuinely devoted to the girl he thought of as his daughter, and he could not disguise this. He was fully aware of Gato's character and that of the men he had employed. The last thing he desired was for them to attempt to exploit her. If she's not back in an hour, have someone go looking for her. It'll probably be longer than that, Zabuza. Haku said that the usual patch of herbs she goes to has been a little barren lately, so she might have to search the island to get the amount she needs. TCH, fine. We have guests, Ryoshi. Kun, Zabuza. Sama, a displeased female voice yelled from the door. The two turned to watch Amy and Shizuki enter the room, followed closely by two mercenaries and Gato. To her annoyance, their guests were openly gazing at the kunoichis behind. They would have burned in about 5 seconds. In the true sense. Gato, uttered Ryoshi with a tone that was positively dripping with disgust. To what do we owe this immense displeasure? The little conceited man simply gave him a sneer and saucily approached Zabuza's bed. So this is what happens to the mighty Zabuza Momochi, demon of the bloody mist, when he goes up against other ninja. Huh. You're no demon. A baby demon, perhaps. Either way, you're pathetic and you can be sure your pay will get deducted for this. Growling and gritting his teeth, Zabuza said, your intel didn't say anything about the target having a Jonin protecting him. Excuses. They will die next time we meet. Of that, I can promise you, Gato. The short man said, you'd better, or else I'll alert those Oinin, Hunter. Nin. You lot are so scared of. All of the group tensed up at once. They had been evading capture for years, so any opportunity to pause and rest was greatly appreciated. After settling down just weeks ago, they had no desire to be on the run once more. Regretfully, Gato was aware of this. I expect results soon, Zabuza. Do you hear me? Yes, snarled the swordsman. Good. Turning around, Gato left, his two bodyguards following closely behind. But before he went, he stopped and gave Amy a seductive smile. Such a shame that a beauty like you is hanging around someone so weak. If you want to know what it's like to be with a real man, a man with power, why don't you come on by for a night of, entertainment? I'll even pay you for it. Abruptly, a fireball materialized in the kunoichi's hand, roaring directly toward the now frightened midget. With his hands still gripping the scarlet flames, he barely managed to duck out of the way before scuttling out. Amy was furious as she stood by the door. The room was getting noticeably hotter in time with the woman's rage, but she was so furious that she was unable to even speak in full sentences. Arg. was exclaimed as all of the room's plants suddenly caught fire, surprising Shizuki, who was standing close to one at the time. Ryoshi grabbed the girl's shoulder and made her look at him as he yelled, "Amy! Amy!" To everyone's relief, the temperature rise abruptly stopped while Ryoshi spoke quietly to the irate woman. "I know you're angry, so am I, and to be honest, I was seconds away from ripping out that bastard's spine, but we have to stay in control," the man calmly stated. "We just need to wait until we finish the mission, alright? Once we're paid and know where he keeps his money, we'll steal everything of value from him and then you can gut the fucking bastard." "Fine, but I get to be the one who kills him, got it?" "Of course." Amy exhaled deeply and counted to 20 before saying, "Good." It was ineffective. "I'll be out training. If you need me, you know where to look." The three men stood by and watched the furious Kunoichi stalk out of the room, muttering under her breath that she was going to literally burn the fat midget alive. Shizuki asked Ryoshi, "Dude, how can you date a girl like that? She's fucking crazy. Aren't you afraid she'll set you on fire or something?" As soon as she was out of hearing range, he put his hand on his friend's shoulder and said, "Shizuki, my friend, let me tell you something about crazy people. The sex is absolutely amazing. Seriously? It's out of this world. Well worth any burns I get. Zabuza, help me out here." "He's right, kid. Ain't no sex like crazy sex. And don't even get us started on angry crazy sex. That's a whole other level." "Well, damn. Jealous? Kinda, yeah. You should be, bro. You should be. Now, I'm going to go find Amy Chan and have hot, angry, crazy sex while you two cry about your dry spell since we left Kirigakure. Bye." "Hey, Shizuki? Yeah, boss? As soon as I'm healed, let's kick the fucking shit out of that smug bastard." "Sounds good to me, boss." "Good, now get out of here. I'm tired of seeing your ugly mug." Two shinobi sat side by side back in the forest. Once at the brink of being drawn, their weapons lay by their sides unaffected by compromise. Each knew the other's identity. That they were rivals. But they could not bring themselves to care at the moment. Rather than resisting, they followed their heart's desires and found solace in each other's company. Despite the fact that they had not spoken a word to each other in almost 10 minutes, they had met. Seated side by side, all they did was gaze up at the stars. Naruto finally broke the silence after they had been sitting next to each other for a further 15 minutes. "Want to talk about it?" Haku didn't even have to inquire about more details. The girl of ice realized that the boy seated next to her had experienced similar hardships in his early years. If he hadn't, there was no way that such a feeling could have resonated in his chakra the way it did. More significantly, though, she understood that he was extending an invitation to listen to her feelings and to share his own. Does she have to do it? Is this the first opportunity she's had since meeting her master to talk about her past? It would be contrary to all he had taught her to do so. Still, what was it that her heart desired? It sang the song she chose. So she related her story to him. Because of her bloodline, she told him, her father had killed her mother and attempted to kill her as well. She explained to him how she had been forced to kill her own father in self-defense. Then, before meeting Zabuza, she told him about her loneliness and suffering, as well as how she had to constantly flee from hunter ninjas after that. Finally, she informed him about her allies, the mission they were presently on, and their ultimate objective. She filled him in on everything. Naruto also told her his story in return. He talked about growing up in Konoha. How something he could not control caused him to be despised and abandoned. He related to her his experiences living on the streets prior to the arrival of the Hokage, who rescued him from certain death. He also shared with her his experiences at the academy and his difficulties making friends as a result of his limitations. Lastly, he informed her of his discovery of his ancestry and the ensuing authority and responsibility. He filled her in on everything. By the time they finished telling their tale, the two shinobi had found themselves cuddled up in one another's arms, enjoying the warmth of one another. They had only recently met, so it was strange to feel so connected to someone, but they were unable to ignore their feelings. More than that, neither of them wanted to let go of the other. Regretfully, they were both accountable for something as well. The girl looked up and said, "Haku Chan. As much as I want to stay here with you, We should probably head back to our groups before they start looking for us. The frozen virgin cast a somber eyelid. I know, Naruto. Kun, but I really don't want to. The next time we see each other, we'll be enemies. And I don't want to fight you, Haku murmured. In the few hours since their last conversation, she and the young man had become very close. And they had a great deal in common as well. He was strong, having suffered as she had. Like her, he had experienced alone, but he remained resilient. Similar to her. But why was he so strong? Fighting for the people she valued most had given her strength. In the same way, was he? Were they also similar in that way? She had to be aware. Naruto. Kun? Yes? Do you think you're strong? I like to think that I am, but I know I also have a long way to go. There are a lot of strong people out there, like you. That made Haku smile. That's sweet of you to say, but what I want to know is what you think the source of your strength is. Why do you fight? It was a really insightful question. One that Naruto had considered numerous times in the past, but had only partially addressed. I fight because I want to protect the people I care about. I was given these powers for a reason. I have a responsibility. And if I were to do anything less than give my all in fighting against what's to come, then I risk letting everyone I know and love die, and I can't accept that. I won't. She was correct, then. Naruto shared her beliefs exactly. I'm the same way, Naruto. Kun. It is my belief that when a person has something or someone important they want to protect, that is when they become truly strong. Naruto grinned. So for you, that would mean Zabuza, Amy, and all the others, right? Haku gave a nod. What about you? Do you have anyone you consider precious to you? Naruto was taken aback by the question once more. Unfortunately, considering his situation as an orphan in the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki, he was about to respond negatively when all of a sudden, images of people started to flash through his mind. An elderly man smoking a pipe and dressed in formal robes and the Hokage's hat grinned at him. Gigi. A scarred man with a Konoha hite. 8 wrapped around his head, dressed in a Chunin vest. Uruka. Sensei. An Abu agent with long purple hair holding a Neko mask. Yugo. Nichan. This time, a group of people. A scowling boy with black hair and a girl with pink hair and green eyes were standing next to a tall man with silver hair, a face mask, and a headband covering one eye. My team. An elderly man and a teenage girl stood in front of a ramen stand with the sign, Ichiraku's Ramen, and smiled at him. Osan and Ayame, Nichan. A youthful, appearing woman with luscious hair, a voluptuous figure, and a warm smile that caused Naruto's chest to constrict with desire. Meigetsu. Haim. Though she did notice that the last name was whispered with more emotion than the others, Haku grinned as she listened to Naruto inadvertently whisper the names of the people he held dear. At last, he brought his gaze back to her. He grinned as well. And you, Haku. Chan. The young lady blinked. Huh? After today, I definitely consider you one of my precious people. That was an incredibly sweet remark, and the Ice Maiden quickly turned beet red. In particular because it was only a few hours ago that they had met. Feeling agitated and desperately trying to conceal her humiliation, Haku hurriedly carried on speaking. It sounds like you have a lot of precious people you want to protect, Naruto. Kun. That's how I know you're strong and why you'll accomplish anything you set your mind to. Naruto beseeched the girl, but you're one of my precious people, Haku. Chan. I don't want to have to fight you, with regret in his eyes. Neither do I, Naruto. Kun. So then what do we do? Haku didn't know what action to take. Sadly, a voice interrupted them at 3 o'clock before she had a chance to consider it further. The voice said, well, what do we have here? Am I interrupting something? Haku and Naruto leapt to their feet and spun around. They were both shocked to see a man they knew from the bingo book approaching you. With a growl, Naruto said, Aoi Rokusho, eh? Class missing. Nin from Konoha, pulling Tenyu but keeping Mugetsu in its sheath. He only recently received the sword, after all. Fighting with it without first becoming accustomed to it would be foolish. You're the one who stole the Raijin no Ken. Oh, well done. Aoi clapped mockingly. The legendary blade of pure lighting materialized with a snap of the wrist, crackling loudly in the once quiet forest. Looks like someone did their homework. And you know about my blade, EH? The man said. If you know so much about me, then you should also know that you don't stand a chance. So why don't you just spare me the trouble and stand still so that I can kill you and get paid? Paid? Are you working for Gato? Aoi answered, of course. Did you think a man as wealthy as Gato would trust this mission to just one shinobi? He hired me as insurance, just in case, before focusing on Haku. And for good reason too by the looks of it. Aren't you Zabuza's apprentice? The ice princess remained silent. Aoi looked Haku in the eyes and said, your precious master will be so disappointed once I tell him you're fraternizing with the enemy. Unless. A lecherous smile appeared on his lips. You provide me with a little service and I might consider keeping my mouth shut. That completed it. That evening, Naruto experienced a second chakra explosion as his rage overwhelmed him. Aoi had to lift his blade to barely avoid being beheaded by Naruto, displaying obvious surprise at the sudden burst of power that far outstripped his own. Naruto growled as his opponent leapt back, saying, you. His holy sword gleamed, celestial chakra coursing down its length. You dare threaten someone who is precious to me? I'll freaking kill you. Saidoryu. Tenjiri, holy sword style, celestial slash. Naruto's sword sent out a wave of golden chakra, but Aoi was able to avoid it and charge back in with his sword ready to kill. To the surprise of the renegade shinobi, the sword of lightning collided with celestial steel and instantly stopped the chakra sword. However, he wasn't a Jonin by accident. He launched into an intense flurry of blows right away, putting the younger shinobi on the defensive and, regrettably for Naruto, allowing a few shots to pass through. Shit. He moves far too quickly. Biting back a scream, Naruto cursed as the lightning sword brushed his side. How in the world am I going to beat him like this? After blocking an overextended thrust, the Konoha Genin quickly exploited the gap it had created, unleashing a powerful, futon. Repusho, wind release, gale palm. Mighty winds suddenly hit Aoi, blowing him back and exposing him to a combo attack that would come later. Flanche, belly. Poitrine, breast. Just before the second spin kick struck Aoi's chest, the first kicked hard and forced all the air out of his lungs. The missing. Nin was sent reeling back by the sheer force of each kick, but he bounced back quickly. Not bad, brat. Aoi exclaimed, launching himself backward only to stop in time to save himself from a flurry of senbon needles. Oh, you want to play too? Well, let's play, let's play. He slammed the Raijin no Ken into the ground after raising it. Raigo, thunder greeting. A loud clap was followed by a lightning bolt that covered the entire clearing. Haku and Naruto were both destroyed and disarmed. The electricity had left their bodies too stunned to return to a graceful landing. Aoi seized the opportunity without delay, lunging towards Naruto with his sword ready to strike. He received a foot to the face instead. Joe shoot, cheek shoot. Wham! As Aoi was launched into a nearby tree, he felt his jaw snap. His arm was knocked out of joint by the collision, but before the missing. Nin could pull it back in, two shadow clones materialized, their legs already in motion. Collier, neck, apal, shoulder. Ga. Aoi slammed into the floor. His body ached as he attempted to comprehend what had just transpired. He had paid the price for being wholly unprepared for Naruto's attack. With one swipe of his lightning sword, he dispatched both of Naruto's clones, growling, fuck. Die. Then he gave the original a scowl. How the hell did you recover so fast? You should have been paralyzed for at least another 10 seconds after receiving that much electricity. Naruto snarled, trade secret, bastard. Mei-chan, thank you for the speedy recovery. As for Naruto. Kun, you're welcome, but be careful, the Kyuubi asked. Doing a quick heal like that takes a lot of yoki and your body can't handle another surge like that for a while. It's okay, Haku said, glancing at her to indicate that she had recovered from the electric shock and appeared to be getting ready to fight their adversary. With a swift motion, Naruto grabbed his sword, activated his celestial chakra, and delivered a powerful blow. Saidoryu. Tenjiri, holy sword style, celestial slash. As it approached its target, the golden crescent made a trench in the earth, but Aoi's hurried dive caused it to miss. The renegade shinobi wrenched his arm back into its socket and lunged at his opponent, only to find himself facing not 1, but 12. After using the Raijin no Ken liberally for a few seconds, the missing nin managed to scatter all of the clones, but Naruto was nowhere to be seen. TCH, more clones? That won't save you, brat. More importantly, Haku had completed her preparation. Sensatsu Suisho, 1,000 flying water needles of death. A single hand seal sent hundreds upon hundreds of needles flying toward the rogue shinobi as they formed out of the dense mist hanging in the air. Oh shit. Aoi let out a sudden chakra surge and leapt into the air, narrowly escaping certain death, only to collide with Naruto's foot. Boss coat, shoulder roast. A train's worth of force collided with Aoi's shoulder, sending the missing nin hurtling toward the harsh earth. When he struck the ground hard, dozens of ice needles punctured his body before he could react, killing him instantly. At least, that's what the teenagers believed until his body vanished in a cloud of smoke, leaving behind a broken log. The two teenagers felt their gazes widen. Substitution. You're right, someone said from behind them. Watch out. The cry arrived too late, though. Pain suddenly erupted throughout Naruto's body. Naruto could feel every nerve in his body tingling like a Christmas tree, it was that painful. Peering down, he saw the cackling yellow tip of the Raijin no Ken protruding from his back, causing him to wince through the waves of pain. Haku. Chan, run. Naruto. Kun. Aoi pulled the sword from Naruto's body, taunting, did you really think beating a Jonin would be so easy? With a sick sense of satisfaction, he observed the boy strike the ground while his body continued to tremble due to the residual electricity. With a snarl and a raised hand full of senbon, the missing nin turned to face Haku. I'll admit, kid, you're pretty good for your age. Better than I was to tell you the truth. But today, you picked the wrong opponent to mess with. And as for you. The bleeding boy exclaimed as Aoi lightly slashed his lightning sword across Naruto's body, causing him to bleed profusely once more. It put an end to the Ice Maiden's attack right away. I left your boyfriend here alive, for now. But if you try to attack me, I will kill him. Leave him alone, Haku snarled. Aoi mockingly asked, you want to help him? Sure, but there's a price. And you know what I want. Haku was pretty sure what he was asking for after he shot her earlier. But before she could say anything, Aoi paused and raised his sword to cut straight through Naruto's heart. The girl stood there, her pride and dignity as a kunoichi crumbling before her, unable to help one of her precious people without sacrificing her virginity. Tears started to fall down her cheeks. Unfortunately, the Ice Maiden knew exactly what she was going to do even in these dire circumstances. Thus, Haku conceded defeat and allowed the senbon she was holding to drop to the floor. Very good, Aoi grinned. Haku suddenly tied her hands over her head against a tree with a flick of his wrist, leaving her at the mercy of her soon. 2. Be rapist. Don't worry, my dear. You might even enjoy this. Not on your life, scum, Haku scowled. Activating his sword, Aoi said, we'll see about that, and strode over to the girl. No. Naruto had trouble getting up. For his own sake, the Jinchuriki refused to allow Haku to proceed with this, even though he had seen and heard everything. His preference is to pass away. Move, body. Get up. I can't disappoint her. Not in this manner. Come on. He exerted force. He had trouble. His entire being begged for any movement from any part of his body. Then he could save her, even if it was just for a brief moment. He could keep Haku alive. However, the harm was excessive. And even though he tried everything, his body was unresponsive, and Naruto knew it would take a few minutes for Meigetsu to use Hyoki to heal him. It would be too late by then. He could see Aoi roughly yanking open Haku's kimono in order to get ready for the dirty deed. He was failing. Tears started to stream down the cheeks of both the prone Jinchuriki and the Ice Maiden. It hurt because they had failed to keep their valuable person safe. It was really painful. All Naruto could do at that point was offer up a prayer to the one thing that might be able to save her. Kami. Sama, hear my plea, please. What happens to me is irrelevant to me. If you must, take my life in return, but please, please, please. Help her. And that, Naruto. Kun, is what makes you worthy of my blessing. Then Naruto's eyes flew open. Power was flowing through his body, unadulterated divine power. He felt the divinity literally giving him energy, healing him. Then he felt it. All that celestial, heavenly energy congealing around his shoulder blades and forming a mass at his back. And then it broke, bringing light pouring into the clearing. Saiten. Hoshiakari, Holy Release, Starlight. ARRRGHHH. Aoi was literally seconds away from abusing the girl when he was forcefully propelled away by what seemed to be a falling star. The missing. Nin pushed himself back up onto his feet and turned to face whoever had interrupted his good time, only to have his jaw drop at what he saw. Naruto was there, standing resolutely in front of him despite his prior wounds, but he wasn't the same guy. A golden white glow enveloped his whole body, its divine power obviously energizing the boy who moments before had been on the verge of death. His eyes, which had once been sapphire blue, now shone a brilliant gold, as though evaluating his opponent's very soul. However, that wasn't the most shocking alteration, rather, the largest alteration was what was now visible above Naruto's shoulders. Winglets. Two exquisite angelic white wings. With each roll of Naruto's shoulders, they fluttered and moved, letting go of a few feathers that fell to the ground. The boy appeared to be a divine warrior sent from above when you saw those wings in addition to his glowing eyes, full-body radiance, and the holy sword in his right hand. What? How? Aoi asked, his mind unable to process what he was seeing. It's not possible. It is not possible for it to be true. There was nothing. Kai, release. Nothing changed even after I said, Kai, release. Kai, release. You, what is this? What the fuck are you? Naruto's eyes narrowed. Your end. The angel had swept across the space between them with a single flap of his wings, slamming Aoi's head against the ground. The unexpected blow caused the missing. Nin great pain, but before he could recover and strike back, Naruto spoke and the hand that was holding him started to glow. Aoi Rokusho, for your crimes against the people of this land in the very act of attempting to rape a woman before a champion of the gods, I hereby sentence you to holy judgment. Your entire life will be laid bare and the very essence of righteousness will be your judge. Now, prepare yourself. Saiten. Shin no Sabaki, Holy Release, Divine Judgment. Aoi felt an inexplicable presence enter his body and soul, and white light started to pour out of his mouth and eyes. From the moment of his birth, memories, some long forgotten, flitted before his eyes. And while this presence seemed to pass through his life at first without causing any problems, it eventually arrived at his first transgression, which occurred when, at the tender age of 15, Aoi defeated a particularly alluring enemy Kunoichi while going it alone. However, he went and sexually assaulted the girl before taking her life, showing no remorse, as opposed to simply leaving her there or even killing her. He had been, if anything, elated. Strength. Aoi could feel the holy presence's righteous wrath judging him for such a horrible deed. And then all of a sudden there was agony. An agony he had never experienced before. It seemed as though he was receiving a thousandfold return for everything he had done to that woman. He could feel every blow he delivered to the struggling girl, every transgression he did against her, and worse, he could feel the fear and anguish she endured until he slashed her throat. Even though this one instance essentially ensured his verdict, the presence persisted. And Aoi's suffering intensified with each transgression it discovered until, at last, it reached the conclusion. Then it started talking in his head. Aoi Rokusho, you have been judged and deemed unworthy of the soul that was gifted to you. As punishment for your crimes, you are hereby sentenced to hell and will forever be barred from entering the pure world of the afterlife. So it is said, so it shall be. The missing. Nin was enveloped in a golden cross by a brilliant light as soon as the presence had completed speaking. From within the light came cries pleading for help, any help, from someone. To keep him alive. However, this corrupt soul could not be saved. It was beyond redemption. And so, in a matter of seconds, the light vanished, carrying Aoi Rokusho as its prisoner, and leaving only his clothes and the stolen weapon in its wake. There was silence. Naruto slumped after defeating the enemy, feeling as though he had run a dozen marathons around Konoha. It appeared that he had lost far more energy than he had anticipated as a result of his bloodline fully activating. But at least now that the fight was over, he could relax. Anyo, Naruto. Kun? The angel raised his head and asked, huh? Only to discover too late that the girl's kimono was still open. The image was ingrained in his mind, even though he quickly turned red and averted his gaze. And he knew, by all means, that he would never, ever forget such a sight. Ga. I'm so sorry, Haku. Chan. I swear, I didn't mean to look. Equally red, the Ice Maiden brushed off her embarrassment to address the more important matter at hand. Anyo, can you get me down from here, Naruto? Kun? Right. 1 second. Slowly approaching the exposed girl with his back to her, Naruto cut the wire binding her once he was confident he was close enough. The Ice Maiden, her cheeks still burning with shame, pulled her kimono closed as soon as she was free. Haku didn't truly realize what had happened until she had maintained her modesty, that her newest, most precious person, Naruto, was an angel who had come to her rescue. And that he was facing her right now. Complete with white wings. Haku was getting a close up look at those feathery white wings, his back to her. And the only thing that came to mind was, beautiful. Huh? Haku blushed once more and blinked. Oh, sorry, Naruto. Kun. You can turn around now. He did so instantly and looked up and down at her with obvious concern. Are you alright, Haku? Chan? Did he hurt you anywhere? The Ice Maiden gave him a lovely smile and shook her head. With her arms wrapped around her savior, she exclaimed, No, you got to me just in time. Haku let out a satisfied sigh as Naruto encircled her in his arms, enveloping her in a comforting warmth. Compared to the fear she had experienced moments before, it was a pleasant sensation. One risk that every kunoichi faced and dreaded was being raped. And today she had been spared that awful fate, all because of this young man. Thank you, Naruto. Kun, thank you. My guardian angel. Anytime, Haku. Chan, Naruto said softly, putting a little more pressure on her. I'll always protect you. You're one of my precious people after all. Haku. Chan? Haku. Chan? Where are you? The Ice Maiden instantly recognized the voice that broke through the moment with its desperate sound. That's Amy. Chan. Exclaimed Haku. Her eyes were filled with panic as she turned to face Naruto. Quickly, you have to go. Amy. Chan is really strong, and with how bad this clearing looks, she might attack you without warning. Naruto could see that happening because there were obvious signs of battle in the clearing. He opened his angelic wings to take off, but not before giving the Ice Maiden one last glance. It was obvious that both teenagers were hurt by the idea that, Haku. Chan, the next time we see each other, we might be enemies. Look, I'll try talking to Kakashi. Sensei, but I can't make any promises if your group still intends to go after the bridge builder. I understand. I'll try talking to Zabuza. Sama. I hope we see each other again soon, Haku. Chan. Yes, me too, Haku muttered. The girl's expression briefly turned to indecision before she took her guardian angel by the arm. Wait. Naruto exclaimed, what? Why? As he felt cool, gentle lips suddenly brush against his cheek. The young shinobi was so shocked that all he could do was stare at the blushing Ice Maiden with his mouth hanging open. BWUH, what was that for? His response was a stunning smile. For saving me. Now go. Huh? Oh, right. Naruto leapt into the air with a powerful flap. After a few more beats of his wings, Haku was only able to see his silhouette against the moon, which was illuminating his body with a heavenly light at the exact moment Amy rushed into the clearing and gave her a bear hug. Alright, let me clarify this, Naruto, the one. Eyed Jonin sighed, attempting to stave off the rapidly intensifying migraine. The next morning, the new angel had returned and sought out his teacher right away, hoping to break up the impending fight. It goes without saying that Kakashi was finding it hard to comprehend what had occurred over the last several hours without his knowledge. Last night, you bumped into that masked shinobi that's working with Zabuza. Then, instead of attacking each other like most people would when seeing an enemy, the two of you decide to sit down, chat, and become friends. His pupil nodded. Then Aoi Rokusho, an A. Ranked missing. Nin from Konoha, who stole the Raijin no Ken, comes in and the three of you fight. You're eventually incapacitated, the girl. Haku. Chan, provided Naruto. Right, Haku. So she's about to be raped, and because of your desire to help her, you activated your bloodline limit and somehow kill him with a couple new jutsus. Did I get all that right? You forgot that I now have the Raijin no Ken. Kakashi rubbed his eye and sighed. Unbelievable, at least you're not hurt. You can thank Mei-chan for that. Yes, well, anyways, about your request. You know as well as I do that it's more on Zabuza than it is on us. If your friend can convince him not to attack us or the bridge builder, then we'll leave him alone, Kakashi responded. Whatever happens though, I still think it's best we prepare for the worst, especially since we now know they outnumber us. What about our reinforcements? Hokage. Sama couldn't afford to send out a full team right now. According to the message, we'll only be getting a couple Anbu operatives helping us out. They should be here tonight. And we've been explicitly instructed to abort the mission and return home should we believe failure and loss of life is imminent, even with the help of reinforcements. Naruto scowled at this, but he was unable to contest the logic of the situation or the orders themselves. Even so, he found it offensive that he would be leaving this country to the mercy of a jerk like Gato. He also didn't want to part from Haku. Nay, Kakashi. Sensei. Do you think we should tell Sasuke and Sakura what happened? If you want to avoid a fight from our side, then yes, you definitely should. Besides, I'm sure they'll want to see your bloodline in action and know how you activated it. Plus, Kakashi said, I know from experience with your mother that seeing real angel wings for the first time can be pretty surprising. And you know as well as I do that a moment's surprise could cost them their lives in a fight. Then Naruto realized something. Good point. I'll tell them once they get up. Oh, Kakashi. Sensei. With everything that happened last night, I forgot to talk to you about making a new technique for you. Oh? Kakashi asked, his lone eye lighting up with curiosity as his student pulled out a blank scroll to take notes on. What do you need to know? Loads of stuff. First off, what kind of technique do you want? Ninjutsu or genjutsu? Ninjutsu. Offensive, defensive, or support? I think, given our situation here, I'll pick offensive. Okay, and what element do you want? Or do you want a pure chakra technique? Lightning, if you can. Despite it being my main affinity, I only have a handful of Raiden techniques. Really? Haven't you copied like 1,000 techniques? A lot of them are really stupid or useless. Really? Like what? Well, I copied this one technique that turns a person's hair green. That's it? Yeah, that's it. Why did you copy it? I didn't mean to. It just sorta happened. Uh-huh. Oh, and there's this one technique that makes a person fart uncontrollably. The creator claimed that he made it to get his enemies to turn on each other. You're kidding. Nope. But this guy was a serious whack job though. He's created dozens of techniques, all of them strange in some way, but the worst, by far, was this one genjutsu. It is the most disturbing thing I've ever experienced. How bad are we talking about here? It was classified as an S rank kinjutsu by the Sandaime. I'm almost afraid to ask, but what does it do? Are you sure you want to know? Yeah. Are you really sure? Yes. Tell me. Alright, but don't say I didn't warn you. Come on, just tell me already. The suspense is killing me. It's called the Kamabaka Okoku no Jutsu, full of transvestites kingdom technique. It makes every living thing you see look like an Okama trying to get into your pants. I think I'm going to be sick. I did warn you. Have you ever used it on anyone? No, but it was used on me once, Kakashi said, his face mostly hidden by the facial mask. A faint, horrified, zombie-like expression appeared on his face. That technique is evil, pure evil. A strong sense of sympathy was felt by Naruto, Meigetsu, Raisei, and Kukio for the unfortunate man who had been sentenced to a fate worse than the depths of hell. This is just a little synopsis from One Piece. I have nothing against transvestites, so please accept my sincere apologies if this offends you. Let's stop talking about this, a trembling Kakashi murmured. What else do you need to know? Gazing down at his notes, Naruto exclaimed, Huh? Oh, right. What kind of range do you want? Long if possible. Both of my main lightning techniques are close combat assassination techniques. Do you want something that's single target or more widespread? Any way you could create a technique that targets multiple targets at once? I can try. Lethality? Can you make it variable depending on the amount of chakra used? Maybe, but there'd probably be a trade-off. If I had to guess, using less chakra would cause the technique to either hit less targets, fail to do any kind of damage, reduce the maximum range, or maybe all three. Try if you can. I'll do my best, Kakashi. Sensei. Anything else you need to know? Naruto wrote down several notes and said, that should be all I need for now. I'll let you know if anything else comes to mind, as his teacher went back to his book of smut. Though it would take a lot of work to bring it to life, the blonde already had a rough idea of what he was going to create. Nevertheless, he was certain of one thing. This is going to take a lot of hand seals. What's your idea? Meigetsu interjected abruptly. Having been the one to teach Naruto about the subtleties of chakra, the demoness had been listening in on the entire exchange and was interested to see how he would apply what he had learned in his latest project. I was considering creating a lightning chain or something like that. It would strike one person, focus on the closest chakra source, and leap in that direction. Basically, the technique could theoretically destroy an entire army, provided it has the chakra to continue. It wouldn't even be deadly if I could figure out how to control the voltage. Naruto disclosed. How do you feel? How did she feel? Meigetsu was struggling to contain his amazement at the intricacy and sheer genius of the method Naruto was attempting to teach his sensei. I think it sounds fantastic. She exclaimed, mentally evaluating the concept. Sadly, she soon discovered a serious problem. But there is one problem. What? How are you going to avoid friendly fire if the technique automatically targets the nearest chakra source? The boy flinched at the idea. OSH*T, I never considered that. Any recommendations? None that would fit your original idea. The only things I can think of that could work would be either controlling the attack yourself with your chakra. I'd prefer not to do that. I learned from you last month that ninjutsu techniques that are controllable always require more chakra than those that are not. Correct. Then, the only other option I can think of is to maybe create a type of marker for Kakashi to put on his enemies. Kind of like the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique, but for targeting purposes instead. That might work. Thus, we must create a marker that is simple to apply to targets and that signals the technique to lock onto and continue, as suggested by Naruto, meticulously recording everything. Finding out how to make the marker in the first place is the first priority. Because without it, developing the technique would be too risky. I'm sure you could find something in that Fuinjutsu manual the Hokage gave you. The one belonging to your father. Well thought out. Regards, Mei-chan. Excusing himself from the table, Naruto thought as he hurried upstairs to his and Sasuke's room. With haste, he took out the instruction manual and quickly skimmed through the pages, looking for anything that would aid him in creating his technique. No, not at all. Why in the world would something like that have a seal? Well, nope, oh, hold on. Whoa. Let's get started. After carefully reading the instructions, he was taken aback and started blinking. Oh. I had assumed it would be trickier than that. Me too. But hey, that just makes our job a little easier. Indeed. Do you have any suggestions on how we can actually get the technique to focus on each marker? A few. It'd be easier if we could see the mechanics behind the Hiraishin no Jutsu. Perhaps Kakashi. Sensei is aware of something? Hang on, he was his stud. He may be calling for me, I believe. We can talk about this later, Naruto-kun. I'll tell you if I think of anything solid. Mei-chan, you are the greatest. Yup, and don't you forget it, Naruto-kun. Never, Naruto replied with a smile as he bounded back downstairs to the dining room, where he saw Sakura and Sasuke had both returned from their morning patrol. They were both staring at him strangely, for some strange reason. A mixture of surprise, fear, envy of Sake, and wonder of Sakura. It goes without saying that this confused the new angel. What's going on? Kakashi gestured to the blonde. I was just briefing them on what happened yesterday. Including the part about your bloodline activating. Right. That clarified Sasuke's expression. It must have stung the Uchiha to have the once. Class Dobi get it before him, since everyone on the team knew how much he wanted his bloodline to activate. Sakura timidly questioned Anyo. Do you think you could show us, Naruto? The wings, I mean. And Naruto said, sure, shrugging. Stand back. Unconsciously, Naruto summoned his celestial chakra and guided the celestial energy to his shoulder blades, the spot where he knew the wings would appear. His efforts paid off a mere quarter of a second later when the angelic wings fully unveiled in a show of white feathers. What a sight it was, too. Gorgeous. Wonderful. Transcendental. These words were insufficient. It was impossible in and of itself to describe the utter splendor of true divinity that greeted them. All that Team 7 could do was stand there and take in its presence. It gave them a lighter, purer sense of cleanliness. In some way, the radiance of the wings was relieving the burdens on their hearts. The rage and hatred that had eaten away at Sasuke's soul for so long began to release its grip. Sakura's hidden insecurities began to fade, even though her appearance suggested otherwise. This was the first time in Sakura's teenage life that she truly felt confident in her own skin and abilities. It was also as though his teammates' spirits were with him, telling him to move on with his life and that he was forgiven, for Kakashi, who was still burdened by the mistakes of his past. It was the epitome of divinity, assisting the worthy in moving past their pain and toward the future. Sakura whispered, her gaze riveted on the wings, they're beautiful. Sasuke asked, putting aside his wonder to examine the wings with a more critical eye. Can you fly? He asked. Naruto said, I need to practice, but I did it once yesterday. Might have been one of those spur-in-the-moment kind of things. I also randomly learned a couple new technique too, so I'll need to work on that. Never know when I might need them on this mission. Which brings us nicely to the next thing I want to discuss, Kakashi said, grabbing everyone's attention with a clap of hands. It was a sobering truth to the genin, but they realized the reality of it all. We now know that our enemies outnumber us, even with reinforcements coming in. And while I'd like to believe that Naruto's new friend can convince them to back off, we must assume the worst for the sake of our clients as well as our own safety. Ultimately, they were shinobi. So until that confrontation, we are going to train like our lives depend on it. Every single moment we have not spent guarding Tazuna-san, we'll be training. In fact, I might even give each of you tasks to help with the bridge's construction to further improve your strength and stamina. Is that understood? Hi. Alright, now, based off what Naruto has told me, every one of Zabuza's accomplices has a bloodline limit. And while we do not know their individual strength, information is power, so I'll tell you what I know about each of them. By the sound of it, the group has 2 members of the Tsubasa clan, 2 members from the Mojiyu clan, 1 from the Hizuka clan, and 1 from the Yuki clan. Based off that, the Tsubasa and Hizuka will likely be the most dangerous due to their bloodlines, as I'm sure you're aware, Sasuke. His 2 colleagues looked at the Uchiha, who sighed but continued to speak. The Tsubasa and Hizuka clans have long been rivals with the Uchiha since the clan war days. Both have abilities that naturally counter the Sharingan and Arcane Affinity, so our enemies would hire them whenever they knew they'd be facing a Uchiha. We quickly came to hate them not long after that. Sakura inquired, what kind of abilities do they have? The Hizuka can turn their bodies into liquid and the Tsubasa are said to house phoenixes inside their bodies, making them immune to fire. They also rely on their clan techniques, something the Sharingan cannot copy. Of all the clans in Kiri, the Uchiha have lost more members at their hands than any other. Kakashi remarked, both clans are very powerful. If it comes down to a fight, Sasuke absolutely cannot face either of them. He would be at a severe disadvantage. Hopefully, either myself or one of our Anbu reinforcements can handle them, but if we are unable, Naruto, you would have the greatest advantage fighting them with your ability to fly. Sakura can back you up. Naruto inquired, how will we know who is who? Haku didn't describe any of them to me. The one-eyed Jonin explained, wishing he had a photo of the 2 groups to show his students. The Hizuka are usually very pale and have white or blue hair and shark-like teeth, and all Tsubasas have yellow hair with red tips. He had previously fought both clans, and those were not simple wins. I don't have any information on the Yuki clan other than what we saw a few days ago, but I have heard that the Mojiyu are apparently blessed by various animal spirits and can use them to gain power. Based off that, I believe you, Sasuke, would have the best chance against them. The Uchiha nodded, his sharp mind already formulating different plans of attack. Alright, we have 4 hours before Tazuna heads to the bridge. We'll use some of that time to get in some light training and then break for individual work. Sasuke, we'll work together first. Let's see if we can activate those eyes of yours. We need every advantage we can get. Hi. After 2 hours of running, exercise, and sparring, Naruto was standing next to a motionless lake with his wings out, determined to master the art of flying. The blonde opened his wings wide and inhaled deeply after a moment of determining which muscles controlled their movements. All right, nothing to do now. Naruto jumped up and down. Spreading his arms wide, he looked like a real angel of heaven as the sun beamed down upon him in a golden ray. Only to plummet to the ground face. First. Kukio yelled, laughing so hard he was literally on the ground, gasping for air. PFFTTT ha 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 ha. Oh Shinigami. Sama, that was rich. Not even Raisei and Meigetsu could contain their laughter at the absurdity of what had just happened. Oh my god, that's gross. Naruto spat out a wad of dirt. Damn it, what did I doing wrong? I flew just fine yesterday. Raisei comforted Naruto. Kun, it's more of an instinctual thing, Naruto. Kun. You'll figure it out eventually, hinting slightly at her humor. Try again. Practice makes perfect after all. After numerous amusingly unsuccessful attempts and an hour later, Naruto gave up for the day and took a seat. The Raijin no Ken was in his hands. The blonde was closely examining the weapon, attempting to figure out why it felt so heavenly. As soon as he picked it up last night, he had noticed the odd feeling. What was even more astonishing was that he managed to fire the weapon. How is it operating? Gazing at the cackling yellow blade, Naruto thought. I don't have any affinity for lightning. Actually, the only member of the team for whom this blade shouldn't work should be me because of my affinity for the wind. What is happening, then? How do I find it to be working? The more Naruto thought about it, the more perplexed he became. His tenants became aware of it, and one of them soon discovered the secret that was being kept from them. Kukio cried, what the fuck? How did you get that? Huh? What topic are you discussing? That sword has the talisman of lightning in there. What? I'm serious, brat. Take apart the hilt and see for yourself. I am not capable of doing that. This is a significant Konoha relic. If I broke it by accident, Gigi would kill me. Humans, look, just channel your void-natured celestial chakra into the sword. The power of the void will turn the hilt intangible while keeping the talisman solid due to its divine nature and draw it out. Unconvinced, Naruto followed the instructions and was shocked to see the hilt become transparent, revealing what must have been dozens of tiny, intricate seals inside. However, before he could even start examining them more closely, a tiny object fell out of his sight. It was a small disc the color of bronze, adorned with large, stylized lightning bolts down the center and covered in ancient runes. That's the lightning talisman, then. Kukio said, you should pick it up, with a cunning smile that was hidden from view. We can't leave a divine object just lying around. Excellent point, the fair-haired thought said, reaching out to grasp it. Naruto, wait. Sakura entered the clearing at that precise moment, but she stopped dead in her tracks when she noticed her teammate in a rumpled, black, and quivering heap a dozen meters from an unassuming talisman. And before she knew what had happened, Naruto was back on his feet, shaking his fist at his sword and throwing expletives. You fucking bastard. You knew that was going to happen, didn't you? Why, I oughta. Let's just say that Sakura had to come up with about 20 new shades of red after listening to Naruto's tirade for the next few minutes. Anyo, Naruto? The boy stopped and looked up, blushing embarrassingly from realizing that he was no longer alone in the things he had said over the previous 5 minutes. Did you hear everything? Asked the pinkette, nodding. Murmuring, shit, Naruto said. Chan? Chan? Yes, you, Naruto. Kun? Would you please beat the living shit out of that bastard for letting me get electrocuted? That would be really appreciated. Why, Mr. Naruto? We assumed you wouldn't inquire. As Raisei began to crack her knuckles and move closer to the pale void spirit, the Biju chirped. Oh my goodness. Teme. Not the face. Okay. What? Ray, not the balls. Not the... Ayah. Feeling satiated that the Kokyo was receiving his due, Naruto returned his focus to his teammate, who had appeared to have at least partially relieved her blush. I apologize for that. What took place? You don't want to know. Naruto shook his head, an itch covering his eye. So, what's up? Oh, yeah, Kakashi wants us all to return to the house because Tazuna-san is leaving early. In addition, I wanted to get your opinion on a nintaijutsu move. Needless to say, he was intrigued. Okay, Sakura, let's hear it. The blonde felt his eyebrows rise. Nintaijutsu was a somewhat esoteric branch in the various shinobi arts, most commonly seen in Kumo. He himself had developed a couple techniques, but they were all pretty basic and more of a proof of concept than anything else. Sakura admitted, clearly feeling that it took a lot for her to say that, well, I know out of all of us, I'm physically the weakest. So I was wondering if it'd be possible to use my earth chakra to increase my body's strength and durability. What are your thoughts, guys? Naruto inquired. I have to admit, it sounds intriguing. Meigetsu pondered the idea, it would be hideously complex though. Simply using her earth elemental chakra wouldn't be enough to do what she wants. Why not? Although her chakra may hold the essence of the earth, earth comes in various forms, as is evident. Essentially, it would be a gamble to see what level of durability and strength she would receive. We need to figure out a way for her to actively select the kind of earth she wishes to imitate before applying it to her body if we want to optimize the effectiveness of this technique. But that's where things get really complicated. Using this kind of procedure would essentially alter the atomic structure of her body, turning her into the earth, which carries a risk of petrification. Thus, this will be an Iryo nintaijutsu, medical ninja body technique, rather than just a nintaijutsu in order to guarantee that she keeps her mobility and the ability to perform her body's fundamental biological functions. So, I'm not even sure where to begin with this idea. You're fortunate to have me sealed inside of you. A long time ago, some shinobi developed a technique that turned their muscles into iron, rendering them impervious to most attacks. One of the Rokushiki, 6 powers, techniques, Tekai, Iron Mass, is the fighting style that the Sandame taught you. Once we demons realized how beneficial this method could be, we ended up stealing it for our own purposes. I can walk you through the mechanics, and together, we can adjust it to fit the requirements of your teammate. Hopefully, we can master this method by tonight. Why not simply teach her Iron Mass, or Tekai? For the technique to work, it requires both muscle mass and chakra control. Though lacking in raw muscle, your teammate possesses the necessary control over chakras. She is essentially the complete opposite of you. Before either of you can master the actual technique, it will be some time. Her suggestion seems less chakra intensive at this time, so it will be more useful. That sounds good, Naruto said, turning to face his teammate. I believe I understand how to develop your method. I'll have something for you tonight, so give me till then. Thanks, Naruto, Sakura said with a smile before turning to walk away but stopping again when she noticed something strange. Naruto? What? Did you witness that? Look at this. That charm. It simply shifted. Naruto blinked, then turned to face the object that had lit him up like a Christmas tree only moments before. Had Sakura actually seen the Talisman of Lightning move? It was an inanimate object, an object of holy shit, but it really did move, and more importantly, it had moved toward Sakura. Naruto, did you see that? It shifted once more. Incredulous, Naruto uttered, I saw it. Guys, what does that mean? Hand her the object. Kokyo said in an unusually serious tone, we'll explain after. Will she suffer the same pain as I did? Not if what we think is true. Sakura, would you mind trying to pick it up? Why? Just, trust me on this. Sakura was understandably wary as she cautiously approached the talisman, and the closer she got, the stranger she felt, because for some reason, the pinkette felt drawn to it. Something about it, something electric, called out to her very soul and practically begged her to claim the innocent looking disc as her own. And that's when she felt strange. Whatever this is, Naruto makes it sound pretty important. Tentatively, her fingers brushing against the object's surface before drawing back. Nothing took place. Sakura, who felt more assured now, wrapped the disc around her fingers and raised it to eye level without noticing her teammate's wide-eyed stare. So we were right. Naruto demanded to know what was going on and how she was able to pick it up without getting electrocuted like me. The elemental talismans will only work for those who have an affinity in their respective element, Naruto. Kun. The talismans, like all other divine gifts, choose their wielders. Raisei clarified. The 6 elemental talismans are actually intended to be used as a set. In light of this, if an individual is drawn to each of the elements, same as Sakura, then they have the best chance of being granted permission by the talismans to utilize their full power, more than anybody else. Thus, the talisman is probably going to put her to the test, just like it did for you and Kokyo. When will that take place? In 3, 2, 1, now. Sakura's head shot back, causing her to scream silently. Her body was suddenly engulfed in what could only be described as white lightning, and then she experienced pain unlike anything she had ever experienced before. The pain seemed to be caused by billions of volts coursing through her body, making every nerve seem to be on fire. However, the pain only persisted for a short while before disappearing almost as quickly as it had appeared. All became dark, and then she caught sight of it. Recollections. Every moment of Sakura's life, from the momentous to the banal and mundane, flashed before her eyes. And in each of those moments, she found herself evaluating if the things she had done at the time were appropriate. Some of the things she had done, mostly the mundane ones, were fine, but many of the things she had done, like breaking off her close friendship with Ino due to a crush on him or rudely turning down his innocent requests for a date, left her feeling regretful and desirous. In retrospect, yes? Sakura knew that no matter how hard she tried, she would never be able to undo the past. It was cemented in stone. Her only option was to keep going forward and maintain her composure, but would she be able to do so? Would she be able to be honest with herself as well as those around her? Sakura hoped she would have the strength to do so. Above all, though, she wanted to be on an equal footing with her team. It's almost time. Sakura was standing in a huge chamber all of a sudden, and as she looked around, the pink-haired Kunoichi realized she was in some sort of library, because there were rows and rows of bookshelves all around her. However, this wasn't just any old library, because there were cherry blossom trees all over the place, and, even stranger, there were lines of glowing blue energy that ran along each aisle. Sakura knelt down, curious, and cautiously reached out a finger to touch the glowing blue energy. Almost instantly, her eyes widened as she reeled back, saying, This is my chakra. Since she had been using her power since she was a young child, she would be able to recognize it anywhere. However, that still begged the question of where in the name of the Sage of the Six Paths was she? Hey. Omet, exterior. Please move your pitiful ass over here. Out of instinct, she said, Who are you calling pathetic? The girl growled, turning to stomp out the person who had spoken, only to discover that she was, herself. The girl looked again, blinked, and rubbed her eyes. Nope, it's still there. She was staring at an apparently flawless physical replica of herself. Everything about her, even the small scar above her right ankle, was the same. The only things that separated them were the copy's silver hair and intense confidence, versus her pink hair and confused expression. Bitch, I understand what you're thinking. Yes, I am considerably hotter than you, is the response. Sakura noticed a tick mark on her forehead, but she pushed her anxiety aside and asked herself the two questions that were on her mind. Who are you? How in the hell am I located? The copy mumbled, ignoring the pinkette's gritting teeth, great, pathetic, and stupid. Isn't it obvious, bitch? You are me. Your true nature. I am the aspect of you that symbolizes your actual self as well as all of your repressed feelings and ideas. Shanaru. Internal cell. Wait, are you the one who's always yelling at me inside my head? You're not deaf, then. Thank you, Kami. Sama, for the little miracles. We are located inside your mental landscape. And before you ask, you're here for a special reason, the inner self stated, anticipating the girl's next query with ease. Later, I'll explain. Follow me now. Someone is anticipated by us. Whom? Sakura's inner self did not respond, but instead simply nodded for the pinkhead to follow, which the girl did, if grudgingly. Left, right, left, then left again, and so on, following a line of chakra through an apparently never-ending maze of books and shelves until the two finally emerged at the heart of the library, where the girls saw 5 pedestals, each with a different colored jewel, yellow, red, green, blue, and white, surrounding a massive fountain filled with glowing chakra. In the middle of the fountain, standing amidst the pool of energy, was a life. like statue of her extremely attractive teammate, Sasuke, ripping his shirt open. Sakura, both inside and outside, sighed dreamily. Is there a problem, Sasuke-kun? His Uchiha student had froze, looking as if he were constipated from being raped by an Okama, or, to put it another way, the epitome of disturbed, horrified, and terrified, Kakashi asked. My fangirl sense just went haywire. How awful is this? Out of 10? Yeah. 20. 5. Aren't you going to cuddle up and cry right now? Do you have an issue with that? Nope, I've also done it. Proceed without delay. Thanks. The inner persona, regretfully averting her eyes from the statue, said, Alright, Omid, as much as I'd love to continue worshipping the divine hotness that is Sasuke-kun, there are a few things we need to discuss. First off, your affinity for all the elements, grabbing the Pinkette's attention at once. You can thank me for that. I'm you in the same way that I'm practically another person. That implies that I have the ability to manipulate your chakra so that it has any elemental affinity. Your primary element is earth at the moment, and earth is also your chakra affinity. However, I believe I can use all 5 elements? Everyone 5? PSH, you're right. Sakura's inner self scowled at the Pinkette, at least, that's how it used to be. Your weak ass couldn't even handle 2 elements, let alone all 5. What? By what do you mean? Status has shifted. You recently obtained the elemental talisman of lightning thanks to Naruto, and you'll have the opportunity to test it out to see if you're qualified to use its power. The lightning talisman? You're not explaining anything. What are you discussing? You will see in due course. Our guest will arrive shortly, so please keep quiet, whore, I'm not a whore. Just as quickly as the inner persona's words were spoken, a blinding bolt of lightning appeared, erupting in a thunderous roar and flooding the library with light. However, as quickly as it had appeared, the light and sound vanished, revealing something that no mortal had ever seen before, save for statues in temples or books. Sakura's eyes grew wide and her legs grew weak, for there was a bright blue being in front of them that was simply enormous, with an oni-like face, a ring of drums attached to its back, and electricity clearly crackling all over his body. Sakura's mind could not and would not comprehend this being. Raijin. Indeed. The creature bellowed, echoing throughout the room like a rumbling thunderclap. My name is Raijin, elemental lord of thunder and lightning. And you, Sakura Haruno. You've been given this opportunity to use my power, he said, gesturing to the Pinkette. W. What? You committed to taking my test when you picked up my talisman. If I, Raijin, think you deserving, I will give you lightning power that no mortal could ever hope to have. Are my terms acceptable to you? I. Sakura's mind, though brilliant, could not keep up with the pace of everything that was happening too quickly. Naturally, this is where her inner critic interferes, saying things like, oh, for Kami. Sama Sake, except, ya stupid whore. Bitch, I'm not a whore. Sakura snapped right away. Oh, so you're foolish after all? The Pinkette merely snarled. Listen, Sakura, her serious inner self uttered. This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. This is your best opportunity to strengthen yourself so that we can stand alongside our teammates if that is your true goal. If you pass Raijin Dono's test, you will undoubtedly arrive one day. Really? Absolutely. With a nod, the Pinkette faced the lightning god and spoke, Raijin Dono, I accept your terms and will take your test. Steely determination entered your eyes. Superb. Tell me, in what way does the power of lightning, of electricity, affect you mortals? Raijin boomed, suddenly floating upwards and raising a hand to the sky of the mindscape, blue lightning crackling around his fingers as he looked down upon the girls. What effects does it have on your body and mind? The solution is everything. The biological impulses and signals are what enable your body to work and your mind to think. It is an essential aspect of existence. However, there's more. Among you mortals, the terms lightning and electricity also refer to quickness, impulse, and response. Furthermore, Sakura Haruno, I think these very ideas will be a good test for you. I don't understand. You felt regret when you saw your life when you picked up my talisman. A dark, twisted smile stretched across the elemental lord's face at this. And you knew that you needed to be honest with yourself and those around you in order to avoid repeating the mistakes of your past. What better way to prove to me your worthiness than to unleash those lightning impulses and reactions within you and judge what happens? You will think and speak as you please for the next few weeks. You will express your disdain if you feel it. You will act and display your anger if you are angry. With the exception of combat, you will express and act upon every thought that crosses your mind. Sakura's horror grew as she listened further, but before she could protest, lightning started to cackle throughout her mindscape, briefly lighting up the enormous library before gathering and hitting her in the chest, setting the spell in motion. Sakura Haruno, I'll be observing and passing judgment on you. You will be able to use part of my talisman's power for the time being, and if you pass my test, you will receive a gift along with complete control. But be aware of this. Reijin bent down to look into Sakura's and her own eyes directly. If you fail this test, I'll take back your lightning affinity along with my power and the talisman. Even though they had only recently discovered their lightning affinity, both girls felt their eyes widen at this. It was a part of their chakra, and therefore, a part of who they were. To take it away was to take away an aspect of her identity. Why? You can do that? I can, in fact. But now that the test has started, there's no turning back. Sakura Haruno, good luck. May the lightning and thunder lead you in the right direction. We'll get together once more. Oh, this is going to good, Sakura thought to herself as she watched Reijin vanish in a flash of lightning, leaving her with dozens of questions that she obligingly voiced aloud. Her inner self, having already dismissed her worries about the test's implications, could only watch in pure amusement as the pinkhead continued to blabber and ramble without noticing what she was doing. Whore of the earth, hey. Awaken. You fucking cunt, I'm not a whore. Sakura screamed, oh Kami. Sama, I didn't mean to say that. Before covering her mouth with her hands in terror. I apologize so much, dirty slut. Oh my. Screw it. I apologize. Holy crap, the spell must be to blame. What the bitchy, fucking hell. I retract that statement. This will not work out well. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to love every fucking minute of it. Inner Sakura snickered as she watched her outer self swear like a sailor, try to take it back, and then start cursing again. Shanaru. Abruptly, she returned. Sakura gave a blink. What had taken place? When she finally realized she was flat on her back, staring up at verdant trees and cloud covered skies, her mind reeled from the sudden change in position and scenery. To put it mildly, it was confusing. Sakura? Are you alright? Once more, the pinkette blinked. That voice was one she recognized. It was her teammate Naruto. Why was he in this place? Wait, she was beginning to recall. Reijin, her inner self, her mindscape, the test, didn't it all begin when Naruto asked her to retrieve a talisman? A fist struck Naruto square in the face, almost breaking his nose, before he could even blink. Gah! What was that for? Sakura angrily exclaimed, not caring that Naruto was staring at her language with disbelief. That was for having me pick up that fucking talisman. What the hell were you thinking, you son of a bitch? Do you have any idea what I just went through because of you? Sakura? The fair-haired angel inquired warily. Are you alright? Upon observing her teammate's cautious expression, the kunoichi forced herself to calm down. Sorry about that, Reijin. Teme put a fucking spell on me as a test. For the foreseeable future, I'll be forced to speak and act my mind. So basically, all my thoughts and emotions are out in the air and myself. Restraint is now non-existent. Naruto flinched upon hearing that. He wasn't entirely sure which divine test Sakura was presently going through or the one he had with Tenyu was more challenging. There's no doubt her test would be more embarrassing. I'll tell Kakashi. Sensei and Sasuke. Wouldn't want you to embarrass yourself in front of them. Thanks, Naruto, if I saw Sasuke. Kun, I'd probably ask him to throw me on the ground, rip off my dress, and let me have his babies, and I just said all that out loud, didn't I? Yes. Yes, you did. Fuck. It's the spell, isn't it? Yeah. You weren't supposed to hear any of that, Sakura muttered, covering her flushed face with her hands. Can we please talk about something else now? I'm starting to feel very horny now that I'm fantasies. MMPPHHH. Stop. Just stop. Naruto angrily exclaimed, covering the pinkette's mouth with his hands. I do not want to hear about your fantasies with Sasuke. Sorry. Desperate to change the subject, the blonde said, let's just head back to the house, okay? We shouldn't keep them waiting. Wait, where's the talisman? The girl said, realizing that the object was no longer in her hands as she looked down into them. She said, looking around wildly, I don't know. At this moment, Naruto grabbed Sakura to get a better look after noticing something on her upper arm. Ow. Hey. What are you? Hold still. There's something on your shoulder. What? Really? Naruto felt his eyes widen as he pushed up the girl's sleeve. The stylized lightning bolt he had noticed on the talisman was there, on her right deltoid, encircled by a ring of tiny kanji. And to his tenants, that could only signify one thing. It's been sealed. Sealed? Like a storage seal kind of thing? Kind of. This is a divine seal, made by Raijin. Don't know. Based off what I can tell, it works like any normal storage seal, with the added benefit of letting you access some of the talisman's power, Naruto clarified. He took a closer look. Not all of it though. Raijin. Teme did say he would let me use some of the talisman's power during the test. Not that it does me any good since I don't know any Raiden ninjutsu. I can make you some once the mission is over. Giving you some now would do more harm than good. You're probably right. Now come on. We should get back. Naruto couldn't help but be thankful for Sakura's silence during the whole walk back to Tazuna's house, considering everything that had transpired in the previous few minutes. The girl had a lot of questions, but she wasn't sure which to start with. To be honest, she was unsure if Naruto could provide any answers at all. She was about to inquire further, but by then, they had returned to Tazuna's house, where the other members of their team were waiting with Tazuna, who was obviously eager to get back to work at the bridge. Ah, there you two are, Kakashi grinned broadly. He gave them each a warm, freshly baked loaf of bread and said, here. That's your breakfast. Tazuna wants to get to the bridge as soon as possible. Kakashi. Sensei, do you mind if I create a couple clones so that they can continue working on the techniques I'm trying to create for the team? They can serve as protection detail for Tsunami. San and Inari back at the house. Sure. Good idea. Yash. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. 5 shinobi copies materialized in a cloud of smoke at that very moment. The clones vanished into the house, scrolls and brushes already in hand, talking among themselves about the various technical mechanics behind the techniques they hope to make. Okay, you guys know what to do. Naruto moved to walk beside his teacher as they went, and the teacher saw right away that his student needed to talk about something significant. Something wrong, Naruto? Not so much wrong, but, well, have you heard of the 6 elemental talismans? Only one eyebrow in Kakashi's raised. You're talking about the legendary objects that are said to bestow their users unparalleled control and power over the elements, right? Yes. Why are you asking? You didn't. No, not me. Sakura. Excuse me? Did you just say? Yeah. Sakura has the elemental talisman of lightning. What? The Jonin's jaw would be firmly embedded in the ground if it weren't for his mask. What? It was in the Raijin no Ken. I was able to extract it and it shows Sakura as its next potential user. But there are some unexpected side effects. What kind of side effects? The group reached the bridge before Naruto could reply. We're here, declared Tazuna. Isn't she a beauty? The 4 shinobi found it to be quite the sight to behold. The Konoha group was too busy being attacked and aware that they might be ambushed at any time to take in the sight of the massive structure that was being built. But now, it was, to put it mildly, impressive. All of Tazuna's men were working diligently to finish the few hundred yards that remained, relocating massive amounts of metal and stone to their proper locations. Those nearest to them gave their boss a warm greeting and made a respectful bow to the Konoha shinobi before going back to work. Reverting to his bodyguards, Tazuna turned. Well, I don't know how you're planning on guarding me, but I need to get straight to work. Just try not to get in the way of any of my workers, okay? Actually, about that, Kakashi moved forward and spoke. We've decided that for the sake of the mission, it would be best if we assisted you in the construction. Obviously, we do not have any experience in bridge building, but we are physically stronger than any civilian and can help speed things up a bit. So, if there's anything we could do to help, The bridge builder exclaimed, delighted to have more workers. Oh, of course. But it'll be mostly manual labor, if that's alright. That's fine. Is it alright if I split you all up? Yes, but given the threat we're facing, I will have to insist that you keep me close by to you. Tazuna stopped to think about how to make the most of the newfound extra manpower. Yes, of course. I was planning on that anyways. Alright, Naruto-san, I would like you to join my guys down at the quarry. We're still in need of a lot of stone, so if you could help them break the larger ones down, I'd really appreciate that. Sasuke-san, my forge could use an extra hand. We have to make our own nails and supports, and given the rush we're in, we need all the help we can get. Sakura-san, I'd like you to help my workers hammer in the supports. I'll have a harness set up for you since the majority of the work will be on the bridge's underside. And finally, Kakashi-san, you and me will be setting up the final columns for my bridge down on the water. No problem. Now, Naruto, instead of using their tools, I want you to use your swords to cut the stone. I know you've started practicing your flying blade attacks, so concentrate on that if you can. Sasuke, this'll be difficult and you'll need to pay close attention to your chakra reserves, but whenever they're shaping the metal on the anvil, I want you to use the Kaden Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique, to help them with reheating. I'll have a clone accompany you to keep an eye out on your chakra levels and to give you tips. And finally, Sakura, I want you to use the tree climbing technique we just learned to stick to the bottom of the bridge while working. You can keep the harness on just in case you slip or run out of chakra. Understood? Sasuke and Naruto yelled, "Hi!" But not everyone was pleased with what they had been given to do. Sakura growled and covered her mouth with her hands, leaving Sasuke, Kakashi, and Tazuna staring at the pinkette in disbelief while Naruto merely chuckled in the background. Why the fuck am I stuck hammering in nails while Naruto and Sasuke-kun get to do something cool? Is it because I'm a girl, you sexist old drunk? Sakura exclaimed. Sakura squeaked, attempting to shrink as much as possible. Sorry? Talisman, Kakashi. Sensei, Naruto uttered in an attempt to clarify. Well then, let's move. Hi. The people of the Land of Waves were amazed by the shinobi's contributions and abilities as they went about their assigned tasks, and their efforts further enhanced their own abilities. Later that evening, Kakashi inquired, how are the techniques coming along? After a delectable dinner provided by Tsunami, who seemed to be constantly giving Naruto smug looks, Sasuke and Sakura had gone to bed, having been completely worn out by the day's events. The only people still awake were Kakashi, who had been deep in his book of smut, and Naruto, who had been working non-stop with his clones on a few scrolls that contained intricate ninjutsu terminology and mechanics. I've actually just finished, the blonde shinobi said, grinning contentedly. They just need testing now. Really? He had to get over being shocked by his students. In particular, Naruto. Even Sakura's? Naruto touched his stomach and said, well, it wasn't easy. But thanks to. We were able to get it done. It's called the Doden. Kyojin no Chikara, Earth Release, Titan's Might. Catchy. Thanks. But there is one problem though. What is it? You're going to need to teach Sakura the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu in order for her to learn this technique. The shinobi with silver hair scowled behind his mask. Naruto, is that really necessary? The Kage Bunshin may not be a kinjutsu like the Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, multiple shadow clone technique, but it still works by evenly dividing the user's chakra. Sakura has the smallest reserves out of all of us. Just making one clone might be too much for her. I'm pretty sure the Talisman of Lightning gave her reserves a boost, so she should be able to make one, maybe even two clones. But you should check her just to be sure. But why would she need to make clones to learn the technique? It's a bit complicated, but basically, the technique works by sending the user's chakra into the surrounding area and using the information it obtains to rearrange the atomic structure of the muscles, bones, and skin to mimic it, thus increasing strength and durability. However, by changing the body's atomic structure, you are literally changing your body into that substance, meaning that the user runs the risk of basically becoming a statue, Naruto explained to his instructor. So to counteract that, I incorporated a modified paralysis healing technique. It creates a kind of in-between state in which the user's body retains its mobility functionality, while still gaining the benefits of mimicking the earth. But obviously, when someone first tries to learn a new technique, things go wrong. So, since none of us know any medical jutsu to fix petrification, our best way around that is using the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Kakashi gave a blink. Next, he blinked once more. How did you? No. You know what? I'm not even going to ask how you made something so complex in just a single day. Did you also finish my technique? Yup. Here you go. With a swift motion, the Jonin grabbed the scroll from his pupil and quickly perused its contents. Raiden. Kusari no Inazuma, lightning release, chain of lightning, huh? It's a bit more complicated than what we originally discussed. The only way I could ensure that the technique didn't accidentally hit friendlies was by incorporating a marker. You can apply the marker on anything with just a bit of chakra and the lightning will automatically hone in on it. Anything in the lightning's path will also get electrocuted. That being said, if a friendly is in the path of the lightning, they need to get clear. So, it's like the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique. That's where I got the idea. Is it possible to apply the seal to a kunai? Should be. But it'd have to be a chakra. Conductive metal, otherwise, the seal won't last. That makes sense, Kakashi said, seeming a little let down. With a sudden exclamation, I'll get them commissioned once we get back to Konoha. Incoming. He motioned to his student to brace himself. 2 strong chakras were moving toward the house, according to his senses. The copy Nin didn't survive this long by being careless, but the silver-haired Jonin knew it was probably the Anbu reinforcements. In order to be certain, he released his chakra in a particular sequence and watched for their reaction. There. All clear, exhaled Kakashi, unwinding. They're friendlies. Go wake Sasuke and Sakura. They should be here to meet our reinforcements. When Naruto and his sleep-deprived companions arrived back, the 2 Anbu agents had already shown up, one of whom the blonde shinobi knew right away. Neko-san! Exclaimed the Jinchuriki, leaping into the kunoichi's open arms with joy. You're our reinforcements? Squeezing the blonde tightly, Yugo answered, well, I couldn't just let my Ododo get hurt on his first big mission, now could I? And how many times have I told you to call me Yugo or Nei? Chan? Sorry, Nei. Chan. Are you hurt anywhere? Not anymore. The Anbu captain scowled, but he knew that any wound Naruto sustained would heal in a day or two with the Kyuubi's assistance. However, the fact that her fictitious younger brother had sustained injuries indicated that there had been a fight subsequent to Kakashi's call for additional support. Why don't you tell us what's happened? And that's exactly what the Konoha shinobi did for the next hour. They went into great detail about everything, including the fight with the Demon Brothers, Naruto's unanticipated friendship with Haku, and the holy items that Team 7 currently possesses. It goes without saying that Tenzo, Yugo's Anbu partner, and herself were quite impressed with their previous performance. And was concerned that things had already gotten as bad as they could get. You've really had it rough, haven't you, Naruto-kun? I take it your first C-rank mission didn't end up like this, Nei, Chan? Not even close. Guess it's just my luck, huh? It has to be, Yugo moaned. She raised an eyebrow at her former Anbu officer who was in charge. Kakashi. Senpai, have you been able to do any recon? The Jonin with silver hair gave a dismissive shake of his head. As good as my kids are, they are not yet strong enough to take on anyone above mid. Chunin and we already knew back when we arrived that Gato had at least 1 Jonin-leveled shinobi on his payroll. It simply wasn't feasible for me to leave to do reconnaissance without possibly endangering the entire team. The Anbu captain accepted the man's justification. Well, that's no longer an issue. Tenzo and I will do recon on Gato immediately. He's too big of an unknown for us to leave him unwatched. We'll return in a couple hours to debrief, using the Alpha, Delta, Beta, Alpha code as our identifier. Sounds good. I'll see you soon, Naruto-kun. The kunoichi hugged him once more. With that, the 2 Anbu agents disappeared into the night, leaving Team 7 to watch silently behind them. Stay safe and get some rest. Hey, Naruto. How do you know an Anbu operative? Sasuke inquired, his eyes full of curiosity. The response surprised everyone, with the exception of Sakura, who Naruto noticed was acting strangely focused on their Uchiha teammate. Yugo. Nay. Chan looked after me when I was younger. She, her fiancé, and her adopted son, Isamu, currently live with me at my house, Sakura said. She appeared to be having difficulties as well. We'd best get some rest like you go. Nay. Chan said. With a nod of agreement, Kakashi hurried his students back upstairs to their beds. Having slept well the night before, he informed them that he would be taking charge of the night watch. Naruto was eagerly anticipating getting some much needed rest tonight after their demanding training day. It took a lot of work and exhaustion to try to finish his teammates' ninjutsu techniques by tonight. However, he succeeded, and he would now be able to sleep for once. Naruto was just relieved that tonight had been relatively calm, quiet, and peaceful, especially considering the chaos of the last 2 days. Nay, Sasuke. Kun, do you want to have sex with me? I'm so horny right now. What the fuck? Then again, perhaps he had said too much too soon. It was the day. That would be the day Zabuza and his gang would fight or retreat. The Konoha shinobi could not really explain how they knew, so don't ask how they found out. Something they sensed right down to their core. They were prepared, though. They had made preparations based on the invaluable reconnaissance that had been conducted on Gato. In the final week and a half before this final showdown, the 6 of them had exhausted all possible options when it came to training, trapping, and sealing. This was particularly true for Team 7's genin, who, under the guidance of 3 shinobi of the highest level in Anbu, had undergone some of their most rigorous training to date. Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura developed rapidly in that brief period of time, learning everything at breakneck speeds and attaining a level they had never before believed was possible for someone their age. They were more powerful because Tenzo had given them strength and conditioning training equivalent to that of an Anbu. They performed push-ups, pull-ups, and squats while wearing 50-pound boulders on their backs. Crunches hung over a roaring fire. They improved their taijutsu through daily sparring against Tenzo's Moku Bunshin, wood clone, but they also suffered injuries every night. They were quicker because Yugo had pushed their reflexes and speed to the limit. They ran 12 kilometers, dodging shuriken and kunai hurled at them while hauling 100-pound logs behind them. Exercises involving blindfolded dodging to improve their senses and intuition. Possibly the cruelest of all, Naruto applied gravity seals, which were set to 3 times normal, making even the most basic chore of eating an excruciating ordeal. Since Kakashi had exhausted their chakra, they possessed greater power. They engaged in activities such as tree climbing, water walking, and basic shape manipulation in order to increase their reserves and sharpen their control. Additionally, in the little time they had, Kakashi, a ninjutsu expert, improved every technique Naruto devised for them to the point of near mastery. The 3 genin never once voiced a complaint during this entire ordeal. Well, so perhaps they voiced some complaints. And cried. And let out whimpers for their mothers. But in spite of the unbearable agony their bodies endured, they persisted. And for that reason, they were prepared. They also had a plan in place. Does everyone still recall the plan? Kakashi inquired. Everyone nodded at him. He glanced at Tazuna and his family and said, "Good. You all know what to do should any of Gato's thugs show up. My summons will be here to advise and protect you to the best of their abilities, but be careful and above all else, be smart." Tazuna replied, "We will," and ushered his family back inside. At the door, he paused and turned to face the 6 Konoha shinobi who might end up dead protecting him and his family. With a bow, he murmured a sincere, "Thank you." The Jonin just bowed his head and glanced at the 2 Anbu agents. "Yugo. Tenzo." With a nod, the 2 Anbu agents disappeared into thin clouds of smoke. "All right," Kakashi said, turning to face his pupils. He couldn't help but be pleased with everything they had managed to do over the last few days. "No matter what happens today, know that you've made both me and your village proud." That made Sakura, Naruto, and even Sasuke smile. "Let's go." Upon the 4 Konoha shinobi's arrival at the unfinished bridge, a dense, oppressive mist laden with deadly intent enveloped the already foggy atmosphere, obstructing all visual perception. The adversary was present. Team 7 silently drew their weapons and took up a diamond formation, their bodies tensed for battle with their backs to one another. "So you finally showed yourselves," a raspy, well-known voice murmured above the dense fog. "I was beginning to think you and your little brats wouldn't show, Kakashi." The Jonin growled back, "And miss our reunion party?" Not a chance. I take it you and your accomplices have no intention of backing off. Of course not. Why? Is it your pride? Surely you know that Gato is planning on betraying you. The little rat wouldn't dare. He knows I'd gut him like a pig if he even thinks about it. Why didn't you just steal the money? You didn't think of it, did you? A male voice, utterly incredulous, demanded from their left, seriously, Zabuza? Some shinobi you are. Shut up, Ryoshi. You didn't think of it either. Doesn't matter if I did or didn't. You're the leader, so that makes you the one at fault. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. No, it d. A frustrated female voice called out through the mist, will you both please shut the fuck up so that we can get on with this mission? As much as I hate to admit it, the Konoha shinobi are right. We can't trust Gato won't try to betray us and call the hunters. So let's finish this up and demand our pay. By force if we have to. Right. Sorry, Amy. Chan. Whipped. At least I'm still getting laid, Zabuza. You, on the other hand. Fuck you. Not interested, bastard. Ryoshi, as soon as we finish with them, I'm kicking your ass to the fucking moon. You can try. Sweat drops dangled from the sides of Kakashi's and his three students' heads as they stood there, listening, through all of this. What a ridiculous argument. The silver-haired Jonin turned to face his lone female pupil and shook his head. Sakura, how many are there? 7. Okay, that's all of them. Naruto, clear the mist. Hi. And a few rapid hand gestures later. Futon. Daitopa, wind release, great breakthrough. The mist was finally blown away by a powerful windstorm that passed through the area, exposing the two opposing sides to one another. With his enormous sword, Zabuza was immediately recognized by the team, and Naruto winced to see his newest precious person, Haku, standing next to him with a similarly uncomfortable expression on her face. The others, though, were unknowns. Yes, their clan characteristics allowed them to be identified, but that gave the Konoha shinobi no information about their unique skills. More significantly, they were outnumbered as well. Zabuza made a quick statement about it. Zabuza chuckled, looks like you're still outnumbered, Kakashi. I was sure that you'd call for reinforcements, but I'm glad to see I was wrong. Oh, you're not. Kakashi replied in a tone that was distinctly smug. We did call in reinforcements. And right now, they're heading toward Gato's headquarters to eliminate him. The other Mist Nin roared, what? As his allies tensed up in disbelief. You're lying. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. If you think I'm lying, stay and fight. By the time you've finished killing all of us, Gato will be long dead and all his assets taken for Konoha's benefit. Or, you can try to save your employer, but even if you left now, there's no guarantee that you'd reach him in time. Amy swore under her leader's growl, shit. He has us trapped. Zabuza snarled, no, he doesn't. Amy, Kagome, Ryoshi. Go to Gato's HQ. I don't care if the tree fucker slit the greedy pig's throat, just make sure you get our pay. The rest of us will stay here and deal with Kakashi and his brats. Even if they're bluffing and Gato's alive, we still need to take out the bridge builder. You sure? Yes. I have a score to settle with the blonde one anyways. Now go. The two opposing sides were equal in numbers after the three shinobi disappeared. The outcome of this battle would now depend on both skill and luck. It was also evident that both sides knew with whom they would be at odds. The shinobi glared at one another, and then silence fell across the bridge. Suddenly, at some unseen signal, they charged, and the battle began. Sasuke and Sakura had jumped forward to face Haku and Kiramojiyu as soon as the unofficial signal had gone off, but they were forced aside when a big wave of water crashed in front of them, obstructing their path to at least one of their targets. A brace of shuriken was used to counterattack, pushing the two genin back even farther and dividing them from the rest of their group. Just what their adversaries desired. Kira and Shizuki declared, we will be your opponents, with Shizuki simply drawing his sword. Don't worry, we won't kill you. Haku. Chan told us what happened the other week, so as thanks, we'll only kick your asses. Sakura growled, you can try, you fucking bitch. The Mojiyu grinned and said, oh, this one has a mouth on her. And she looks weak. Shizuki, she's mine. Go for it, the Hazuka said with a drawl. Just don't mess around. End it quick. Oh, that's rich coming from you. Just shut up and fight. Fine. The kunoichi gave a terrifying roar that reverberated in the wind as the girl charged without any prior warning, her tribal markings suddenly expanding on her face, and she yelled, Tora, tiger. With all the strength one would expect from the king of the jungle. And for the kunoichi with the pink hair, that was where the fight ought to have ended. Ultimately, she appeared feeble. You can only imagine Kira's astonishment when Sakura parried under her blow and, thanks to Sakura's teammate, she unexpectedly found herself attempting to reposition her face. Kira. The girl fell hard to the ground, trying to take in what had happened as a bruise quickly appeared on her cheek. Unfortunately, the girl she had been targeting appeared over her in an instant, her entire body glowing a dull green, her fist drawn back, and her opponents showed no signs of letting up. Kyojin no Itsuchi, Titan's Warhammer. Whack. It resembled a bomb going off. Sakura's fist shattered the stone floor completely, leaving a crater the size of a small car and a shockwave that ruffled Kira's hair as she barely managed to duck out of the way. With a soft landing on her feet, the Mojiyu exclaimed, "What the fuck was that? How the hell are you so strong? There's no way those skinny-ass arms could punch a crater into the ground." With a sly smile, the pinkette pointed to the green glow that enveloped her body. Doden. Kyojin no Chikara, Earth Release, Titan's Might. It's a technique that uses Earth Chakra to change the atomic structure of my muscles, bones, and skin to mimic the earth around me, enhancing my strength and durability, Sakura clarified. Still think I'm weak, bitch? I guess this won't be as simple as I had initially imagined. Kira grinned ferociously. When her teammate moved to assist her, she exclaimed, "Good. It's been too long since I was in a proper fight. Shizuki, you handle the Uchiha. This fucking bitch is mine." The man winced, but gave a nod and jumped to confront his opponent. "Let's see how strong you really are. Bring it on." Shanaru. The two kunoichi collided in an instant. They threw punches, kicks, and various combinations at one another, but neither of them made any headway in their goal to beat the living hell out of the other. It appeared as though the battle would be decided by who had the greatest stamina for a brief while as each attack was sidestepped or blocked. Sakura, however, saw an opening at that precise moment after dodging one of Kira's roundhouse kicks. She instantly launched a barrage of strong blows capable of toppling boulders at her opponent. But she didn't catch it. It had been a ploy, that opening. Sakura paid with her own blood for it. Sakura was stunned as she staggered back after Kira suddenly thrust her knee into her stomach and struck her in the face. And Kira let her guard down, launching one of her strongest taijutsu blows. Toragari, Tiger Hunt. Sakura was struck by Kira's attack with such force that it sent her crashing into the ground in excruciating pain that she felt all the air leave her lungs. "I really felt that," the kunoichi with pink hair thought, her mind stunned. Thus, she is able to strike through solid rock. How does she have such strength? Kira teased, "Is that the best you can do? Where's that confidence you were showing earlier?" Sakura felt a surge of anger that numbed the pain and gave her the strength to stand back up. She spat out a glob of blood and glared at the Mojiyu. She received another savage smile in return. "The X. Kiri." Nin laughed, "Now that's more like it. Come on." She yelled in response to Sakura's hurriedly raised guard, but the pinkette was unable to stop the kick before it struck her side. But she didn't stumble or fall this time. Rather, Sakura countered with a strong uppercut to Kira's abdomen. The girl gasped, but she was suddenly thrown into the stone railing of the bridge by her attacker. Unfortunately for Sakura, Kira turned out to be remarkably resilient. In midair, the Mojiyu made a comeback and, rather than colliding with anything, she launched herself back at the pinkette, slamming a hard right into the girl's face. Sakura immediately saw double after this, as she was met with a backhand, haymaker, and finally a headbutt that crushed her nose. However, Kira was far from done yet. The former kunoichi of Kiri defeated her opponent with blow after blow and strike after strike. It was agonizing to witness and even more so to go through. Sakura, though, was not about to back down. The pinkette suddenly had a vice-like grip on one of Kira's arms. The Mojiyu was caught off guard, and understandably so, as she was completely unprepared for the onslaught of punches that lodged in her stomach before she was literally swung overhead and repeatedly slammed into the merciless stone floor. Wham! 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 Sakura repeatedly pummeled her opponent to the ground, her rage from the prior beating igniting the rather vicious attack. The battered girl was thrown into the air by the pinkette, who then spun around and materialized above her, her leg in mid-swing. And Kira knew that fast. Approaching heel was dangerous even in her dazed, pained state. Kyojin no Ono, Titan's battle axe. Shit! Kira exclaimed, crossing her arms as her tribal markings began to resemble shells. Came, turtle, wham! Sakura's axe kick sent Kira hurtling toward the bridge below, shattering her defenses, only for a log to fall in its place. The pinkette swore, substitution, and dove out of the way to avoid a pair of shuriken. However, Kira had that exact desire in mind. The Mojiyu appeared on her left seemingly out of nowhere and rammed a kunai into the Konoha Kunoichi's shoulder. Ah! Sakura stumbled backward and grasped the bloody cut while extracting the knife. She'd been fortunate. Because the Doden, Kyojin no Chikara, Earth Release, Titan's Might, was still active, the blade hadn't penetrated too far, but that didn't mean it didn't hurt unbearably. Sadly, as Kira launched dozens of blows into her body, she had no intention of receiving any relief. Sakura was sent flying backward and into the merciless stone by a last, fierce sidekick that brought the barrage to an end. Sakura's inner self commanded, "Come on, Omoto, outer. Pull it together." While her outer self was struggling to stand back up. "Don't let that bitch win." Ura, inner, "I'm trying, but she's just too powerful." She was once one of Kiri's kunoichi and has been training with Zabuza and other people. Furthermore, I graduated just a few months ago. How are we going to top that kind of encounter? By fighting smart. Don't forget, we're smart and sexy. I know we haven't mastered the Doden, Kyojin no Chikara, Earth Release, Titan's Might, to the point where we can use any other jutsu while it's active, but that doesn't mean we should avoid using them entirely. Come on. Use that brain of yours and let's kick the fucking shit out of that bitch and her stupid big boobs. As much as Sakura hated to acknowledge it, her subconscious had a point. She had not been fighting well. It's time to switch things up and fight like a real shinobi, almost like a brawler. Kira teased her opponent, "Are you finished already?" Observing that she hadn't gotten back up yet. The green glow that had enveloped the Konoha Kunoichi from the beginning of the battle subsided a short while later. "Looks like you really are finished. I'll admit though, you were pretty good. You might have even broken a rib or two in your last attack. I definitely underestimated you. But you're still far off from being in my league." ELC. Bout, at. With a mocking gesture, Kira leaned over and put her hand in her ear. "Sorry, what was that?" I said. The vanquished Konoha Kunoichi vanished without warning. A delusion. Kira thought to herself in shock. She had to have made the clone and concealed herself with a genjutsu. Where is the real one, though? How far did she go? That question was answered directly behind her by a voice. I said we'll see about that. Now take this. The story of Sakura Haruno would begin with what transpired next. Because everyone on the bridge, in the town, and possibly the entire island heard and felt the outcome, even though there were no witnesses other than the two combatants. Sakura simply cocked her fist back and delivered a punch. Raken, lightning fist. A blinding burst of white light, followed by an unbearable crack of thunder, and then nothing. One fight was over. Just a few minutes before. Another fight was going on the other side of the bridge. Shizuki and Sasuke were engaged in a fierce battle. As they clashed, sending sparks flying, neither of the kunai nor the sword was able to gain the upper hand despite their best efforts. Large fireballs would occasionally roar across the bridge, determined to reduce their target to ash, only to be extinguished by crashing waves of water. They were matched equally. Shizuki has the advantage of greater strength and experience, but there's a good reason why Sasuke was regarded as a prodigy. The genin was able to match his opponent's fighting style thanks to his natural speed and his newly awakened Sharingan. This battle would ultimately come down to ability and good fortune. The two clashed again with a roar. Their blades collided in a fiery stalemate in a show of brilliant sparks, and it was soon obvious that Shizuki would prevail in this most recent battle. However, his rival was ready for this. Sasuke's kunai suddenly burst into lightning chakra. The electricity shocked and instantly paralyzed the former mist. Nin as it traveled across their crossed blades, down the Hazuka's sword, and into his body. The Uchiha quickly took advantage of his defenselessness and leapt away, leaving a primed explosive tag in his wake. Shizuki's gaze expanded. Shit. Whack. Shizuki was launched across the bridge in a rocket. Like manner as the tag exploded. Sasuke had just completed his final hand seal when he crashed into a nearby pile of lumber, unleashing a blazing fireball directly toward his opponent. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. The shattered pile of wood burst into a massive fire. The lumber was reduced to ash in a matter of seconds due to the intense heat of the flames. Sasuke, though, just scowled during it all. Cut the dramatics, Hizuka. I know those flames aren't hot enough to hurt you. Wham! The former missed. Nin appeared to be unharmed as it emerged from the flames as if on cue. Sasuke's eyes would have widened at the unexpected attack if the Hizuka's fist hadn't blocked his face at that moment. The Uchiha was knocked back by the follow. Up hook kick, but he got back up fast and gave his opponent a menacing look. A scowl came to his face as he assessed his opponent's condition, which revealed nothing more from his fireball and only some minor damage from the earlier explosion. Uchiha, you're better than I expected, I have to admit, the former Kiri. Nin remarked, massaging his abdomen. Elemental chakra flow, that's not something your typical genin could do. And you were able to hurt me, despite all the advantages I have over you. I know that your clan's Suika no Jutsu, hydrification technique, makes you immune to physical damage and Doden, Suiden, and Kaden techniques, unless they're hot enough, Sasuke grumbled. But the Uchiha have records of dozens of encounters against your clan and we've made a few observations. Like how if you're hit with electricity, your technique can get negated, making attacks like explosives and even Kaden techniques damaging. Shizuki clapped mockingly, saying, very good. You're right on the money. But just knowing how to hurt me doesn't mean you'll actually be able to. I did it once, I can do it again. PSH, that was a fluke. I was careless, but it won't happen again. 12 shuriken, each crackling with electricity, were sent flying across the bridge as soon as someone said, we'll see about that. However, their separation was too great. Shizuki evaded the projectiles with ease and aimed his index finger back at the Uchiha while holding his hand like a gun. Sasuke quickly became pale. Mizudepo no Jutsu, water gun technique. The Hizuka fired a single drop of water with incredible force and speed, just like a bullet, right from the tip of his index finger. Sasuke could hardly avoid it with the Sharingan because it moved so quickly, but even so, it still punctured a hole in his shirt. As the former Kiri, Nin locked eyes with the Uchiha, a predatory shark-like smile spread across his face. Ho, you're pretty fast, aren't ya? I was sure that would hit you. Let's see if you can do it again. And don't worry, this won't kill you, but it sure as hell won't tickle. Mizudepo no Jutsu, Jirinshia, water gun technique, rapid fire. Shit. Time seemed to slow down in that moment, as we were hit by a virtual hail of water bullets. Sasuke exerted maximum force on his body, attempting to evade every falling droplet. Weave left, then right, duck your head, proceed right, turn around, weave left again, and jump. It wasn't enough, though. The bullets approached more closely over time. And Sasuke was getting hit, even with his best efforts. It was one to the shoulder first. He took one in the foot and one in the leg after that. His speed and maneuverability were halved by those hits, causing him to stumble. Finally, he was unable to dodge anymore. His entire body was showered with numerous water bullets shot after shot until one hit the Uchiha directly between the eyes, causing him to knock back his head and fall unconscious. He broke down. Whispering, "It's over," Shizuki folded his hands. He sighed deeply and turned to check on his teammate Kira, just in time to see the pink-haired Kunoichi pick her up and repeatedly slam her into the ground. "To be honest, I had expected more," he said. He flinched. "Ouch, I'd better go help her." Raiden. Shirai, lightning release, lightning strike. AARRGGHH. It was unexpected. He felt the force of a lightning strike as he was suddenly struck by hundreds and hundreds of volts of electricity. His body began to light up like a Christmas tree at every nerve, and the pain was overwhelming. Shizuki could feel the intense heat and knew he was screaming. Shizuki screamed uncontrollably, and in the brief moments that followed the technique's termination, he was on the ground, his body burned and blackened, and he was barely conscious. A voice behind him said, "You should know better than to look a Uchiha in the eye." Shizuki, half conscious, was shocked to see Uchiha, who was totally fine, approaching his unconscious body. He looked around, but there was nothing in the body he had been attacking moments before. "Why? You, Genjutsu." "That's right," Sasuke stated, gesturing with his Sharingan. "You really should have known better." "You're right," Sasuke said, feeling his eyes widen as he heard a voice speak behind him, and Shizuki abruptly turned into a puddle. "Which is why I made a clone." "Shit." Sasuke was only able to look in shock at the point of the blade sticking out of his chest. Even though he was aware that all of his vital signs had been missed, the mere sensation and sight of the metal protruding from his chest was enough to cause his mind to wander until he too vanished in a cloud of smoke. "Clone, he's good." TCH, Shizuki conceded. Overall though, he was unfazed. Because there had been no resistance, he knew the instant his sword touched its target that he had stabbed a clone rather than the original. "You fight like a proper shinobi, using tricks, skill, and cunning to win your battles," the Hazuka complimented, looking around cautiously to see who his opponent might be. Most likely, the Uchiha was disguising his presence with another illusion. He might not be able to see his opponent just now, but that would change in a short while. "But here's where we differ, Uchiha. I don't rely on my Kekkei Genkai to win my battles. We both know you're not as strong as me, and it's only thanks to your Sharingan that you've been able to keep up. But if I take that away, if I block your Sharingan's ability to anticipate my moves and plant Genjutsu to fool me, what then will you do?" A ferocious grin spread across his lips. "Let's find out." Kirigakure no Ju. Raiden. Shirai, lightning release, lightning strike. Shizuki's technique was interrupted and his body was painfully shocked by the lightning bolt that clipped his side. However, this time, despite the fact that it wasn't a clone, the former Kiri Nin managed to bear it and return his attention to his opponent, who had made himself known. "There you are," he exclaimed, pointing to the Uchiha with his hand. "Now, how about we try again?" Mizudepo no Jutsu. Jirinshia, water gun technique, rapid fire. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. This time, fire triumphed over the hail of water bullets that met a raging inferno. The droplets quickly evaporated and had no effect on halting the fireball's trajectory toward its intended target. However, it remained merely fire and was not hot enough to harm a Hazuka. Shizuki laughed, charging through the flames completely unscathed, only to take another, much smaller and much hotter fireball to the chest. "You'll need to do better than that, Uchiha." That one also caused pain. Shizuki stumbled back and clutched his burned chest, saying, "Yeah. What the fuck?" Kaden. Garyu no Jutsu, fire release, Dragon's Fang technique. It resembled a shot. From Sasuke's mouth shot a small, extremely compact, ridiculously hot white fireball that, when it touched Shizuki's shoulder, exploded with great force. And the flames were so strong that they managed to boil the water they struck, harming Shizuki's unusual body. The Hazuka gasped, trying to wrap his mind around that fire. What kind of jutsu is this? Was causing him pain. New development, Sasuke scoffed. Kaden. Garyu no Jutsu, fire release, Dragon's Fang technique. Sweden no Jutsu, water release, water bullet. Once more, fire defeated water despite all logic. The target, who was too stunned to avoid it, was struck in the face by the fireball as it passed through the water bullet and continued on its way. Erg. He was blasted off the bridge and into the water below by the ensuing explosion. Running to the side of the bridge, Sasuke looked over the railing, but his opponent was nowhere to be seen. Nevertheless, he had no intention of chasing a Hazuka into the river, where he would be virtually unstoppable. No, he would be wise enough to wait for his adversary to approach him. Abruptly, there was a brilliant flash, a loud thunderclap, and an agonizing cry that could be heard for miles. A scream audible even at the surface of the river. Kira. The river exploded all of a sudden. With Shizuki at its head, a gigantic tower of water erupted. His gaze focused on his comrade's blackened, unconscious body that was laying on the ground, Sakura, her opponent, standing over her. Kira. No. He exclaimed as he started to charge forward, but was stopped by a lightning strike to the chest. Erg. He fell and crashed back onto the bridge, causing water to cover half of the structure. Hazuka, not so fast. Sasuke exclaimed, leaping ahead of his rival. Our fight isn't over yet. Shizuki pushed himself back onto his feet and yelled, Get out of my way, Uchiha. Kira needs me. The water started to move in his direction. It took shape, swelling and encircling him. Sweden. Tate Iboshi, water release, shield crowhead child. Sasuke was hit by water jets with high pressure just as he was registering the enormous devilfish like form his opponent had assumed. Jia. After smashing hard into the stone bridge, the Uchiha was repeatedly hit by dozens of water jets until, at last, they gave up after a full minute. And all Sasuke could do was lay there, bruised and clearly defeated. I lost, Uchiha thought blearily, noticing that his opponent didn't even give him a sidelong glance as he passed by. He then swept Kira into his arms and struck Sakura unconscious with a powerful blow to the back of the head. Why? Why does it seem like I'm weaker than everyone else? Naruto fought better than me against Kakashi and Zabuza. Not even a freeze against Zabuza's intent to kill. And Sakura, a fangirl, defeated her opponent while I was unable to. Why? Why do I feel so weak? Do you know why you lost, Uchiha? Shizuki was the one. He appeared to be returning to their hiding place with Kira in his arms, but he stopped as he approached his defeated opponent. And he could see the Uchiha's eyes were blazing with the question. The reason why you lost is because you fight only for yourself, he stated. B. But how? Assuming the Uchiha's question was inevitable, the Hazuka asked, how does that make a difference? It makes all the difference. I know about your past. About how your brother killed your clan and left you the sole survivor save for himself. And for that, you have my sympathies. Even in his state, Sasuke tensed up at this. He didn't require or desire the pity or sympathy of an enemy. He didn't respond, but the Kiri Nin interpreted that as an affirmative. That being said, I'm sure your greatest desire is to get revenge, right? To get back for everything done to you. And there's your problem. Sasuke lost his temper. He yelled, so what the fuck would you have me do? Just forget everything that happened? What he did to me and my family? Of course not. But you're letting your brother win by walking this Avenger path. That immediately made Sasuke lose his wind. WH. What? Tell me if you want, but what did your brother say to you when he left you alive? H. He said if I wanted to kill him, to get revenge for the clan, I had to hate him, to channel my anger and hate and use it to kill him. So you're basically letting him dictate how you should live your life. How you should fight. Sasuke was unable to even respond to that. Shizuki let out a sigh. Though he wasn't sure why, he felt compelled to alter the young genin who was lying in front of him in a defeated state. That calamity would strike in the future if he didn't. Listen, Uchiha, the reason why I'm strong, the reason why I beat you is because I fight for my comrades. Kira, Haku, Ryoshi, Amy, Kagome, and even Zabuza, when you fight for someone you truly care about, you will push yourself far beyond your limits. You will overcome even death itself if it means saving their lives. If you die, then that's it. There will be no remorse, no guilt, or anything simply because you're dead. But if you're alive and your friends are dead, then you will suffer. You will hurt. And you will curse yourself to hell for failing. It's a fate far worse than death, in my opinion. Sasuke remained silent during the entire exchange. He heard these words, and they ingrained themselves deeply in his mind. He was beginning to make sense. Beginning to make sense. He had fought for himself the entire time. Sasuke had trained himself to the bone before joining Team 7, but in the last few months, his growth with Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi has exceeded his wildest expectations. And even though he tried to keep his distance, the very idea that any of them might be harmed made him want to get up and fight. If you choose to ignore my words, then that is your decision, Uchiha. But know this, there is nothing more terrible than being alone. Even if you achieved all your goals and ambitions, what peace would you find? You would still be alone, with no one to share it with. After that, Shizuki and his friend departed, leaving the Pinkette unconscious and her friend reflecting on what had been said. Naruto and Haku's battle was much more subdued than the other intense ones. In actuality, their fight had just begun, while the others were almost done. Standing opposite each other, the two shinobi looked intently into each other's eyes. They saw suffering, anguish, and inevitable consequences in what they knew would happen eventually. Naruto finally sighed. We knew this was going to happen, Haku. Chan. She bowed her head and said, I know, the Ice Maiden. But it doesn't mean I didn't wish it wouldn't. Me too. But we have to fight, and you know why. Haku took the words hard because she knew they were true. Above all, they would fight for their fellow shinobi, the mission, and their pride in being shinobi. That's correct. We need to fight, the brunette remarked. Her eyes took on a determined, steely look. Are you ready? Yes, are you, Haku? Chan? I am. And don't hold back, Naruto. Kun. Our precious people deserve to have all our power fighting for them. And there was nothing more to say. The two shinobi, resolve now blazing in their eyes, leapt at one another and crashed into one another with a loud thud and a powerful shockwave. Haku and Naruto exchanged dozens of punches and kicks in an instant, but neither was able to hit the other. Punches avoided, kicks blocked, and every combination thrown was met with impenetrable defenses. After practicing taijutsu for a full minute, only one of them made a mistake that the other could take advantage of. The angel tried to execute a spinning sidekick as Naruto ducked under a blow, but he missed and unintentionally exposed his side. And just as Zabuza had taught her to, Haku struck without hesitation, even in spite of her personal feelings. When the Ice Maiden kicked him in the ribs, Naruto flew across the bridge. And before his back had made contact with the earth, Haku was above him, her fist already in motion. Wham! Jia! Naruto slammed into the earth, breaking the hard stone with his sheer force. While his body twisted in agony, the blonde couldn't help but wonder, how is she so fast? I had not even had time to substitute or clone. Come on, Naruto. Kun, I know you can do better than that. Stop holding back. Our precious people deserve more from you. Naruto felt strength surge through his body at those words. Haku was correct. He was afraid to hurt her, so he was holding back, but not any longer. Not only did his opponent deserve better, but so did his team and Tezuna's family. With a, sorry, Haku. Chan, Naruto got back up on his feet. Seeing holy chakra come together around his back and then explode into two angelic wings, he did so. You're right. No more holding back. Naruto crossed the bridge at twice the speed he had been traveling at before with a single flap of his wings. It happened so fast that Haku could hardly stop himself from giving her a vicious kick. She didn't fall, though. Despite the blonde's powerful kick, the Ice Maiden managed to maintain her balance and counterattack with a left jab and several knife thrusts. She expected the jab to miss, but in doing so, her opponent exposed himself to multiple knife strikes that landed with bruising accuracy. Rubbing his chest, Naruto staggered back and cursed. She's so strong, he thought, even though he knew Haku was strong. Her style of taijutsu appears to focus on making spaces for possible lethal strikes. He had to get even more aggressive. I would be dead right now if we were fighting for real. Naruto lunged forward and struck his target's legs with a low, sweeping kick. Jigget, legs. Despite missing, he instantly used the momentum he had gained to swing both legs out wide. Haku's defense was broken by those kicks, coatlet, ribs. Cell, lower back. Just in time for Naruto to turn around and execute multiple lightning. Fast snap kicks, a tenderize. And a forceful push kick to her chest, poitrine shoot, breast shoot. Haku was pushed back and managed to get her balance quickly, but not before the angel materialized above her, his leg raised high. It appears that this attack would be painful as well. Trisiame Hachi's, third-rate mincemeat. Hyaden. Hyogen Domu, Ice Release, Ice Rock Dome of Magnificent Nothingness. More than 20 kicks, each with enough force to topple boulders, crashed into an ice dome. The shield shuddered and briefly cracked, but ultimately held strong. When Naruto realized this, he stopped attacking and leapt away. So you're finally using your bloodline, huh? Yes, Haku said as she nodded, her eyes displaying intense anguish and sorrow. But I did not want to. My bloodline, the power of Hyaden, Ice Release, is cursed and can only be used to kill. The teenager gave a headshake. Naruto reassured Haku. Chan, that's where you're wrong. He turned through a number of hand seals before arriving at and grasping the dog seal, saying, let me show you that it can also be used to protect. Hyaden. Hakyoku Okami, Ice Release, Arctic Wolf. Unbelievable, Haku's eyes grew wide. See. Is he really able to? The mist hovering over the battlefield quickly started to gather around the angel, bringing with it a bone. Chilling cold. In a matter of nanoseconds, ice began to form and grow. It did so much more quickly than when Naruto had initially tested the ninjutsu, growing and taking shape. After only 5 seconds, 2 enormous wolves formed entirely of ice were finally formed and were growling fiercely at their creator's side. Haku's mouth fell open. Not possible. Ice, like her. Her newest, most beloved person was able to make ice. Why? You can use Hyaten, ice release. It's not just a Keke Genkai thing, Haku. Chan. Anyone with strong enough elemental affinities for water and wind can use Hyaten, ice release. You're not alone. She shed one tear, rolling it down her cheek. It was amazing how Naruto seemed to be able to comfort her deepest feelings with just the right words. More than that, he was demonstrating to her the artistic possibilities of ice. How much time had passed since her last thought? Haku had thought that her bloodline, that ice, could only be used to bring about death and destruction for years, ever since her family's deaths. But now that she saw it take the form of magnificent wolves, obviously determined to defend their creator, it provided the girl with more than she realized was necessary. Whispering, "Thank you, Naruto." Kun, she wiped away her tears. "Thank you." Naruto grinned. "Get ready, Haku-chan. The real battle starts now." Hi. Haku shot forward in a blur of speed, holding ice spears in her hands, just as the 2 wolves growled and charged. One of Naruto's wolves appeared to have 2 icicles protruding from its flank seemingly in an instant. A second later, as the other wolf was about to pounce, it broke. But the girl of ice was prepared. Haku, realizing she would not have enough time to duck, instead made another spear, raising it high enough to deflect the ice wolf's swinging claws. Click. She was on her knees in an instant. Haku was fighting the ice wolf's strength and couldn't help but cry out. The spear approached her face as its claws closed in on her, yelling, "Hisatsu Hyoso, certain kill ice spears." Haku's spear suddenly erupted with ice spikes that impaled and broke the construct into tiny pieces. She sighed with relief, thinking, that was too close. But then she heard a familiar voice speak from behind her. "Don't forget that this is a battle, Haku-chan. You can't afford to relax." Apal, shoulder. Her face struck the floor first as the roundhouse kick, intended for her shoulders, struck her. The girl was so stunned that she was unable to even cry out before another kick would almost rib. Cracking force forced her deeper into the ground. "Cell, lower back." Naruto exclaimed, his voice clearly strained. It was obvious that he did not want to attack the Ice Maiden while she was unconscious. However, they were both shinobi, each on a different mission. It was necessary to take action on this. "Do you yield, Haku-chan?" The kunoichi's reply was, "Why? You should know better, Naruto-kun. This isn't enough to beat me. Hisatsu Hyoso, certain kill ice spears. Shit." With a fierce flap of his wings, Naruto barely managed to dodge the massive avalanche of ice spikes that burst around his adversary. That was quite close, Naruto pondered, his hands tense. When he looked down again, he saw that Haku was no longer there. Where had she disappeared to? The only warning Naruto received before his opponent materialized from an ice mirror and struck him, sending him tumbling back to earth, was a slight chill at his back. Haku did not give up and made a hasty hand seal even as the angel began to fall. Sensatsu Suisho, 1,000 flying water needles. Abruptly, hundreds of senbon were dispatched to pursue the descending angel, who, seeing the approaching danger, cursed, spread his wings to halt his fall, and formed his own hand seals. Naruto then let out a roar. Futon. Shishi Otakebi, wind release, lion's roar. The angel let loose a roaring vortex of sound and air that completely destroyed every senbon pursuing him. Then, the vortex continued upward, fracturing the ice mirror. But even though Haku was inside that mirror, he was safe. She reappeared on the bridge, soundless as she fell from the falling shards. "Naruto-kun, you have quite the powerful technique there," she said with a compliment. "There's not much that can damage my mirrors, let alone break them. It's one of the first futon techniques I ever created. I only just recently finished working out all the kinks." The frozen beauty's eyes expanded. Why? You created that? That and the Hayaten technique. My own original creations. Isn't it awesome? D. Do you think you could make me some new Hayaten techniques? Of course, Haku. Chan. It was almost unbelievable to think that the two teenagers who had been fighting moments before were now discussing future technique creation. Unconsciously, both of them saw each other in that future. Naruto's expression suddenly turned serious as his head snapped in the direction of the bridge's end. His angelic wings vanished and his eyes widened as he directed all of his senses toward exploring the island rather than the battle. His opponent was unaware of the reason for his actions. Naruto. Kun? Shish. He uttered, trying to focus his senses. He had to make sure what he'd felt wasn't just in his head. The signal was intended to be repeated twice, here. Haku felt it too this time, though she couldn't quite put her finger on it. The Ice Maiden was only aware of a sequence of chakra pulses emanating from a deeper part of the island. Could it be a code? Considering how Naruto was acting, it had to be. Out of the mist, Kakashi and Zabuza materialized. Both of them had numerous wounds, including burns, bruising, cuts, and in Zabuza's case, multiple bite marks. The most unexpected thing, though, was probably that neither was criticizing the other. Both, in fact, had a somewhat alarmed expression on their faces. Naruto, did you feel that? The young man gave a nod. Shit, Kakashi uttered an unusual curse. That means they didn't get there in time. Zabuza exclaimed, damn it, Kakashi, what the fuck is going on? What was that chakra pulse? The Konoha shinobi met the swordsman's gaze and said, that was from our reinforcements. It means that weren't able to eliminate your employer and that he's on his way here with the army of mercenaries he hired. He was never planning on paying you. Our plan was to assassinate him, procure his assets, pay you to leave, and then complete our mission. TCH, do you really expect me to believe that? Please, Zabuza. Sama, Haku cut him off. They are good people. I don't think they would lie about something of this magnitude. You've always been too kind, too trusting. Don't you see, Haku? This could very easily be a trap. Why should we believe anything they say? Kakashi remarked, you don't have to believe me. Clear the mist. That signal means that Gato and his army are almost here. Zabuza snorted, but being careless didn't get him this far. The mist cleared with a single hand seal. Then he saw it, his chubby, avaricious boss, who had a small army pursuing him. The men behind Gato were among the worst people on the planet. There had to be more than 200 of them. They were mercenaries, thugs, and sly individuals. And all of them were moving directly in their direction. Gato. What the fuck are you doing here? And what's with all the men? Growled the demon of the bloody mist. The man mockingly laughed, isn't it obvious, Zabuza? I'm going to have all of you killed. Just like I planned. What? Did you really think I would pay you any money? Hiring shinobi from a village has always been so expensive, especially when you don't know if they plan on betraying you. But missing nins, like you and your little ragtag group, that's a different story, Gato said with a sinister smile. I don't have to worry about any consequences from your village if I decide to get rid of the lot of you. I just have to wait for you to either kill each other or tire yourselves out, and then I can overwhelm you with numbers. This way, I save money and still get the job done. Speaking of which, he turned to Naruto and Haku. I must thank you for getting rid of Aoi Rokusho for me. It saved me quite a bit of time and money. Zabuza growled. I hope you've made peace with Kami, you bastard, because I'm going to kill you right here. Gato laughed, you think you can kill me? Look at you, having trouble with a bunch of snot-nosed brats and their babysitter. You're no demon, you're a fucking disgrace. A weakling. And you still haven't killed the bridge builder, have you? Pathetic. Clearly, your vaulted reputation means nothing when push comes to shove. Those words made Zabuza and Haku both tense. The swordsman gruffly remarked, looks like you really were telling the truth, Kakashi. And since this mission is now null, we no longer have any reason to fight you. Yeah. Once this is over, we'll take our leave. Fine by me. Do you think? Ah, Kakashi, it will be our pleasure to help you gut that fucking pig. It was Gato who laughed again. A lecherous smile spread across his face as he looked directly into the eyes of one particular ice maiden. You still think you can kill me, huh? You shinobi are already half dead. My men won't even break a sweat taking you down. But don't worry, Zabuza. I won't kill all of you. All your pretty bitches will be coming with me. Once me and my boys here have had our fun, I'll sell them and make a nice little profit on the side. That completed it. A certain blonde shinobi always seemed to react when he heard those kinds of words, whether it was because of his holy celestial chakra or something about him. With a roar of rage, Naruto's chakra swirled around him in white and black. He drew both of his swords and charged before anyone could stop him, his white angelic wings bursting out of his back to reveal his divine heritage to all. Naruto. Kun. Fucking brat. Get back here. Kakashi cried out, Naruto. But their pleas went unanswered. He glared at his former rival and said, shit. Zabuza. I'll give you twice your promised pay if you help Naruto while I get my other students to safety. Considering that his own apprentice had just jumped after the recently revealed angel, it was an offer too good to refuse. Besides, he was going to have to cut his old boss's throat anyhow. Turning around, he charged after the two teenagers and shouted, you got yourself a deal. Just in time to see Naruto crash into the army. Ora HH. The angel struck the army with the force of a freight train, and 4 mercenaries were brutally killed before anyone could even blink. He yelled, come get some, you sick bastards. And threw Tenyu at a thug who was nearby. A wave of golden fire erupted from the holy weapon as the glowing blade sent its target flying back after impaling him right through the heart. Saitoryu. Tenmo, holy sword style, heaven's vengeance. Naruto whirled around and used Mugetsu to decapitate 2 more enemies, and in an instant, half a dozen enemies were dead from holy flames. The army had sufficiently recovered by now to attempt an assault on the divine warrior. A handful of mercenaries charged at him, the nearest one slamming his naginata in Naruto's face and yelling nonsensically. Unfortunately for him, the blonde dropped one hand to the ground and swung both legs, heels first, into the man's face, missing the mark by miles. Kankase, crush. Instantly killed him. Now that he was upright again, the Jinchuriki parried a sword thrust, dodged a barrage of arrows, and then struck back with a barrage of quick, powerful kicks. Trisiame Hachis, third-rate mincemeat. Another 2 went down. Naruto continued unabated. Gato commanded, retreating to the back of his army, what are you fools waiting for? It's just one kid. Somebody, kill him already. But, sir. He's an angel. Not just an angel, look at him. He's an angel of death. How are we supposed to fight that? Is this Kami? Sama showing her anger? Gato exclaimed, don't be fools. That's probably just some stupid shinobi trick meant to scare us. With his axe drawn, a mercenary exclaimed, Gato. Sama is right. Come on. Attack. HRK. Anything more the man was going to say was cut off before he hit the ground by a vicious roundhouse kick to the neck. Collier, neck. Roared Naruto, then used a low sweep to knock another thug to the ground. I made sure the guy wouldn't be getting up anytime soon with a solid stomp to his face. After that, the angel quickly returned to his holy sword and used his other blade to block every blow that came his way. Then, he leapt into the air to avoid a barrage of arrows. Sheathing his weapons, Naruto dashed through a series of seals to use his one other unique technique up there, out of reach. Sweden. Akuhei Bakufu no Jutsu, water release, Hydra Blast technique. At Naruto's summons, the sea surrounding the bridge surged. A massive column of water erupted from one side, resembling a tri-headed dragon. Everyone, including Zabuza and Haku, was left staring in stunned disbelief at the spectacle as the beast let out its roar. Their inattention would cost them dearly soon. The water dragon let out a roar as it crashed into the bridge, instantly eliminating over 24 mercenaries with its sheer force of impact. An additional 15 or so were swept off the bridge, eliminating them from the battle for the time being. Zabuza and Haku had already entered the battle by then. The pair of killers dispatched the army with icy efficiency. Not a single movement was wasted. Every enemy that got in their way was either slain or had a senbon piercing one of their vital organs. None of them was able to halt their progress. Benakiri. Ryu. Kai no Uda, Crimson Mist Style, Song of Blood. Sensatsu Suisho, 1000 Flying Water Needles. Fear spread among the mercenaries as a hail of ice needles and a crimson wave of death swept through the army, taking nearly 36 lives. And who was to blame for them? They were still more than 100 strong, but they had only managed to defeat 3 shinobi with one blow. Some saw it as a challenge and forced their way to the front lines, while many started to retreat with obvious fear on their faces. A man with a strong build and height of 7 feet exclaimed, "Get out of my way, y'all fucking pussies." He swung his massive iron club at Haku, who managed to dodge, but soon realized she was having difficulty moving around due to the number of corpses and mercenaries around her. Thankfully, her guardian angel did not intend for her to face this battle alone. Naruto, resembling a celestial angel sent from above, lowered himself between his beloved and the giant in a deep crouch before unleashing a forceful vertical kick that struck the mercenary square in the jaw. "Der Plat, 2-course meal," he exclaimed as he launched himself back into the sky and materialized over the stunned man, his leg landing in a crushing axe kick. The giant fell face first to the ground and did not rise again. They fall more forcefully the larger they are. Grinning, Haku said, "Thanks, Naruto." Kun and she flash froze a thug nearby. 6 more pincushions ended another hand seal, this time on the ground. In return, the boy had to smile despite their circumstances. Anytime. He turned to face the surrounding area, which was now encircling them. "That is not acceptable." Naruto held out Tenyu in a reverse grip and said, "Haku-chan, put your hand on the sword." The ice maiden obeyed, placing her hand on the pommel as the angel raised the weapon and stabbed it into the ground. She was confused, but she knew she could trust her special someone. Saiten. Hoken, holy release. Consecration. They appeared to have just stepped onto the sun. The ground around Tenyu erupted into a pillar of brilliant golden light as soon as she broke through the stone floor. At the center of the light, Naruto and Haku were unharmed, but everyone else within 5 meters screamed as they were engulfed in golden fire. Haku closed her eyes and whispered, "Incredible." She was surrounded by the calming warmth of Naruto's holy power, which made her soul sing. It was amazing. She tried to memorize the sensations for a short while before jumping back into the battle with the angel, but regrettably, those feelings vanished a few seconds after the technique ended. Zabuza, meanwhile, had the impression that he had returned to the violent, bygone era of the Crimson Mist. His decapitating carving knife, Kabikirabocho, was covered in blood from slicing through several adversaries. Though there were still many enemies standing in his way, he was moving steadily closer to his objective. "Let's reduce that number by a little." The swordsman pondered fiercely. Benakiri. Ryu. Akashio, Crimson Mist style, Red Tide. Zabuza, his sword behind him, swung down and upwards, cleaving a deep gash in the bridge and launching a shower of stones, dust, and chakra that sliced right through everything they came into contact with. A dozen mercenaries fell, dead and covered in blood. For this reason, the Crimson Mist style, or Benakiri. Ryu, is regarded as one of the deadliest sword styles in shinobi history. However, Zabuza pondered, glancing over at the young angel engaged in combat with his trainee. 3 more mercenaries were slain by the boy's crescent wave of gold, which he witnessed. He thought to himself, narrowing his eyes, his sword style is strong, maybe even as strong as the Benakiri. Ryu, Crimson Mist style. He split 2 more of Gato's goons carelessly. God, why am I thinking about this in the middle of a battle? I wonder how far he'll go. Frustrated, the swordsman shook his head and dove back into the carnage. One man in particular stood out from the others during the fighting. His dispassionate, emotionless eyes were glassy as he watched his fellow mercenaries be dispatched. If anything, it appeared as though he was counting. Naturally, though, the question was, why? The shinobi were drawing near, which meant his demise most likely. Was it not his own life he feared for? Seemingly not. A dark, bubble-shaped shield stopped Naruto cold as soon as he appeared before this mysterious man and swung his swords down. The angel's gaze grew wide. The real danger was right here, as celestial chakra gushed down both of his blades. Saitoryu. Tenjiri, Holy Sword Style, Celestial Slash. Katoryu. Denku, Void Sword Style, Spitting Void. A loud explosion erupted as 2 crescents, one representing holy energy and the other the void, flew from celestial steel and crashed into the shield, but nothing happened. This mystery man seemed, in fact, to be completely unaware that he had been attacked. Rather than that, he simply nodded. He was no longer counting and, although not a shinobi, was now working through a long series of hand seals. And Naruto's tenants quickly recognized the sequence. Oh shit, that's not good. Naruto, stop him. If you don't, everyone in this country is as good as dead. The angel instantly went into overdrive and cursed. He repeatedly struck the man's shield with his divine swords, but to no avail. Not even his most powerful blows worked. He required additional strength. Zabuza! He exclaimed. The man raised his head. Help me break this shield. If we don't kill him before he finishes whatever it is he's doing, we're all fucked. When Zabuza heard the angel's true fear and urgency in his voice, he immediately offered his assistance. With his apprentice keeping an eye on their backs, he paved the way for the Konoha Genin and joined the assault. Benakiri. Ryu. Kyuji Kiron, Crimson Mist style, feeding frenzy. In a matter of seconds, hundreds, if not thousands, of sword thrusts and swings collided with the shield as Naruto attempted to do the same at roughly the same location. Maybe, just maybe, they could penetrate the shield if they could only make one particular spot on it weaker. The shield broke. Indeed. Just a tiny bit more. Gisei no Josho, Ascension of Sacrifice. Naruto's gaze expanded. No. They were unsuccessful. From the mysterious man, dark red lines of kanji covered every single corpse lying on the bridge floor. The bodies had turned to dust in a matter of seconds, their very life essence seeping out and into this enigmatic man, shrouding him in a swirling ball of chakra and keeping him out of sight. The battlefield was suddenly filled with a sense of dread and death. The shinobi quickly put some distance between them after realizing that the chakra's swirling cocoon was the source of this feeling. Their lives were spared by that choice. The shinobi would be plagued by what surfaced from that cocoon in an instant and would follow them for the rest of their lives. There was no longer a man, only a hideous devil. He was 3 times the size he had been at birth, with dark red skin, rippling thick muscle, and jagged spikes sticking out of his back, shoulders, and forearms. It also had shorter, but just as sharp, spiked studs along its jaw and chin, burning green eyes, and long, curved horns on its forehead. This creature was terrifying in the most nightmare-inducing ways, with a face that not even the most loving mothers could adore. This creature was monstrous. An expression of fury and retaliation, ready to hunt and devour souls. The monster that stood in the middle of the battlefield caused everyone to go silent. Gato was stunned as well. Subsequently, Guruog. Those nearest were knocked to the ground as a shockwave from the monster's roar tore across the bridge. Those who had already fallen were quickly crushed when the devil began to attack everything in his immediate vicinity. Shouts filled the room. The bridge was littered with body parts, blood, and guts as the creature quickly dispatched the army that remained. It was not good that it would soon be staring at Zabuza, Haku, and Naruto. Zabuza scowled and said, "Great, a fucking devil. And a strong one too. He's at least low Jonin level, if not higher." Naruto gave a startled blink. "You know of devils?" Swordsman with a sneer. He jerked his thumb at the monster and said, "Kid, when you've been a shinobi for as long as I have, you see some pretty fucking twisted shit. This. Every other week for me. So you fought them before?" Zabuza complained, "Yeah, but none of them were this big." He gave the fair-haired shinobi a discerning glance. "You're an Uzumaki. There's no other way you'd have those wings. That means you have celestial chakra and have the best chance of killing that thing." "I don't think so. I only fully activated my bloodline a couple weeks ago when I rescued Haku." "Thanks for that, by the way. Look, I'm man enough to admit that I'm in no condition to take that thing down by myself. If I was fresh, sure, but not as I am now. Our best bet is for Haku and I to distract that thing, so that you can get in close and cut its fucking head off." He raised his weapon. "It's our best chance, kid. So get ready and pray to Kami Sama that we survive." Raisei remarked, "Naruto. Kun, Zabuza. San is right. Out of the 3 of you, you are the freshest with the most chakra still left. And you have celestial chakra. This is the best plan you've got. Rei. Chan, I know, but I don't like it. Just keep your eyes open and get ready. You'll need to use that technique if you want to kill that beast." Naruto. Kun. I'll send some yoki to boost your speed and strength. Hopefully, it'll be enough for you to kill the devil in one go. Hi, he considered. He turned to his erstwhile adversary. Fine. If you can immobilize him, I should be able to take him down with one move. We'll do our best, kid. Just make sure that move of yours gets the job done. Good luck, Naruto. Kun. Naruto nodded, sheathing both swords and directing all of his remaining celestial chakra into Tenyu, keeping it in its scabbard. With his hand on the weapon's handle, he was prepared to quickly draw the blade. This would be their one chance, and the angel was not going to let it pass them by. For their part, Zabuza and Haku soon found themselves engaged in the most difficult conflict of their lives. Despite their weariness, they both challenged the creature. Thankfully, speed was on their side. Its punches and swings were consistently missing, giving the two assassins the freedom to dart in and out and attack any place they could. If only it were sufficient. Their attacks barely hurt the creature, despite their best efforts. Its skin was just too hard. It seems like we'll have to use the big guns, Zabuza said, brandishing his enormous sword. He saw, just out of the corner of his eye, that his apprentice had thought the same thing. All right. There was never a bad idea to launch two attacks. A long, shallow gash sliced across the devil's torso as a red wave of chakra slammed into it, proclaiming, Benakiri. Ryu. Kai no Uda, Crimson Mist style, Song of Blood. It staggered back at the same moment that Haku emerged in front of the monstrosity, trailed by more than 1,000 ice needles floating in midair. Sensatsu Suisho, 1,000 flying water needles. Haku's technique would have killed them multiple times if it had been someone else. But not right now. The ice needles completely failed to even pierce the skin of the beast against such a strong devil. They simply brushed off. Worse still, the creature had already healed from whatever damage they had managed to inflict. Now that's just not fair, Zabuza uttered expletives. Benakiri. Ryu. Kai no. Zabuza. Sama, watch out. Zabuza was attacked by a vicious haymaker from the monster, displaying a speed that the devil had not yet displayed. The attack came so suddenly that the swordsman could hardly raise his cleaver in time to act as a makeshift shield before the beast's sheer might blew him right across the bridge. Zabuza. Sama. The man exclaimed, I'm fine. Before toppling over in midair and scuffing his feet. Upon glancing at his weapon, he was shocked to discover a sizable crack where the devil's claws had made contact. Fuck. That thing is strong. He exclaimed, realizing that his gas was beginning to run low. He glanced at his apprentice, who was clearly wearing thin too. Zabuza wasn't sure how much longer they could stand it at this rate. Thank goodness help was on its way. Suddenly, 5 kunai, blazing with lightning chakra, struck the beast in the chest and legs. Tens of thousands of volts of electricity ignited the beast merely seconds later when a massive bolt of lightning struck every single projectile and flashed across the bridge. And the monstrosity roared in pain for the first time. As soon as Zabuza saw the man approach them almost casually, he yelled, Kakashi. It's about time you got back. What the hell took you? The Jonin Konoha shrugged. He turned to face his last pupil and was only slightly taken aback to see the blonde angel literally glowing with white celestial chakra and, judging from the looks of it, red yoki. Ma, my cute little students woke up and wanted to come back to help. It took a bit of talking to convince them to stay put. It was obvious that whatever he was attempting to accomplish would soon be finished. Naruto. Whatever it is you're planning on doing, get ready. Hi. Kakashi, Zabuza, and Haku nodded to one another before charging back into the battle. And this time, the roles had reversed, electricity still running wild within the creature's body. The 3 shinobi launched attack after attack, leaving the monstrosity completely defenseless. Benakiri. Ryu. Akashio, Crimson Mist style, Red Tide. Hisatsu Hyoso, certain. Kill Ice Spears. Raiden. Kusari no Inazuma, Lightning Release, Chain of Lightning. A deafening explosion of lightning bolts, giant ice spikes, and waves of crimson chakra slammed into the helpless monster. The beast roared in agony once more. It collapsed to its knees, black blood streaming from its numerous wounds. The 3 shinobi realized at that very moment that they would not get a better opportunity than this one. Now, Naruto! Exclaimed Kakashi. Do it now. Hi. Naruto shot forward faster than he had ever been able to. He was closing in on his target so quickly that even the 3 other shinobi could not make out what was more than a blur. Holy and demonic power radiated from his body as he readied himself to summon Tenyu, the most powerful move in his toolbox. Saidoryu Ei. Mikagura, Holy Sword Style Draw and Resheath Technique, Sacred Song. Naruto struck quickly. The shinobi slapped a golden white cross on the devil's chest and skidded to a stop behind his target, just as the faint sound of angels singing filled the air. The angel withdrew his holy blade gradually until at last. Chink. Gra hhh. The air filled with black blood. The holy celestial chakra burned and destroyed the devil's body and soul, causing it to cry out in agony. With so much holy power coursing through its body, it would not be able to recover from this. The devil was aware that its time was running out, but it was determined to say a few final words before departing this world. The monster used all of its remaining strength to raise its head and stare at Naruto, who was practically a celestial angel from heaven with his wings spread and his body still glowing with holy light. And it grinned at what it saw, for whatever reason. For the first time since the devil's transformation, everyone's eyes widened upon hearing it say, "Attentai, heavenly body, user." To think that such an opportunity had laid before me. It's a shame I could not deliver your soul to the Dark One. My reward would have been great. The devil laughed. It does not matter. You may have defeated me, Uzumaki, but the war will be ours. The Dark One will claim dominion over the 9 realms, and there's nothing you can do to stop us. Already, his greatest champion walks among your kind, and soon, this realm and all others will be ours. Naruto's gaze grew strained. Not on my watch, devil. I'll make sure your champion and your master fail if it's the last thing I do. We will see about that, finish it then. The godly defender of the gods lifted both of his swords. Die. The devil's head rolled with a single blow, bringing an end to the commotion. The conflict had ended. They had prevailed. Oi. Where the fuck did Gato go? God damn it.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.